Chapter 63. In the four heavens immortal world, there were four great inheritances: chaotic heavens, void heavens, Brahma heavens, and D heavens. The Emperor's soul remnant scroll in front of him was one of the inheritances of D heavens. Ning Fan's spirit sense went into the black jade. Suddenly, a cold chill spread into his sea of consciousness like a fishing net. Ning Fan's expression changed drastically when the cold chill invaded his sea of consciousness, but he quickly calmed himself down. This cold chill was harmless. On the contrary, it was the spirit sense that was stored in the black jade, which was used to inherit secret techniques. Divine art chant, an ancient divine Tao technique, a lost fiend god technique? Ning Fan was slightly surprised. He didn't expect that the black jade would inherit a fiend god secret technique. Some fiend god techniques could strengthen one's physical body, allowing one to transform into a giant and move mountains and seas. Some strengthened one's magical power, allowing one to destroy the world and cover the sky with a flick of a finger. However, the fiend god technique in front of him was a secret technique that strengthened one's spirit sense. In the cultivation world, spirit sense could be used to sense, concoct pills and refine weapons, but it didn't have any direct destructive power. Once this divine art chant was cultivated, one could turn the world upside down, shatter the vault of heaven, suppress immortals and Buddhas, and kill people without bloodshed. A blade of grass could cut the sky, a single thought could shatter the sun and cover the sky. Ning Fan's expression turned serious. He carefully integrated the cold chill into his sea of consciousness and the information of the cultivation technique into his mind. His expression was sometimes smiling, sometimes frowning, sometimes gloomy, and sometimes worried. It was extremely complicated. After a long time, he murmured. 8 Divine Art Chant, the famous technique of immortal Emperor Tai Cheng under the command of Heavenly Venerable D. There are 8 styles in total. After cultivating this technique, the power of one's divine soul will increase day by day. It can be used to attack, defend, and kill. If I can obtain all 8 styles and cultivate it for 10,000 years, there won't be anyone in the 4 heavens and 9 worlds that I can't defeat. Unfortunately, there are only 3 styles in this remnant scroll. He heaved a deep sigh and kept the black jade that had lost all of its magical power. His mind was recalling the information of the divine art chant. The first style of divine art, false art chant. It used the power of spirit sense to conceal one's cultivation base and change one's appearance. No one could see through the disguise unless their spirit sense was stronger than oneself. This technique was very useful for killing and escaping, but to cultivate it, one needed to consume an ancient spirit herb called the spirit refining grass, which had already been lost. Only by borrowing its medicinal power could one obtain the ability to disguise one's divine will. What a good, false spirit art! If I could learn this art, I wouldn't need Cece to act as Black Devil Ning. Once my spirit sense breaks through to the peak of Gold Core Realm, who would be able to see through my disguise? It's a pity that spirit refining grass is rare in Rain Immortal World. The second style of the divine psyche art, defensive psyche art. It used the power of the divine psyche to form a tangible defensive shield. The stronger one's divine will was, the stronger the attack one could defend against. This technique was used to save one's life, and its defense was extremely terrifying. The only flaw was that it placed a huge burden on one's divine sense. If one's divine sense wasn't strong enough, it would probably take a long time before they could use it again. In order to cultivate this technique, one needed to devour the artifact spirit of a defensive magic treasure. Magical treasures with artifact spirits were rare to begin with, and all of them were peerless works of art, so they were extremely expensive. If he wanted to learn this technique, he really didn't know how many artifact spirits he had to devour. Always. That's a lot of money. Currently, Ning Fan didn't have an artifact spirit, so he couldn't cultivate this technique. Defensive psyche art. If I can master this technique, it will make up for my lack of defense. Ning Fan murmured to himself. Although the first 2 styles were extraordinary, Ning Fan was still able to face them calmly. However, when he recalled the information of the third style, his expression changed in an instant, revealing a hint of surprise and a complicated expression. The third style of the divine psyche art, body psyche art. Using the power of the divine sense to condense an avatar. There were two types of avatars. The first type was to condense a fake body. The fake avatar could only survive for a day to a few days. With the improvement of the technique, it could last longer and the number of avatars could also increase. However, its biggest flaw was that it didn't have any magical power. The second type was to condense a true body. The true body and clone were the avatars that only a few void fragmentation old monsters could condense. Avatars were different from the real body. There were all kinds of avatars in the cultivation world. Flame avatar, ice avatar, lightning avatar. There were many ways to refine an avatar. The avatar of the body psyche art was called soul psyche avatar. As the name suggested, the refining method of the soul psyche avatar was related to the soul. The refining method of the soul psyche avatar was very easy, but it would cause great harm to the body. It required half of the 3 souls and 7 spirits to be used to refine the avatar. Losing half of the soul meant that Ning Fan would become a person with a damaged soul. His defense against spiritual attacks would be greatly reduced. The difficulty of cultivating many magical techniques would be greatly increased. The worst part was that his lifespan would be reduced by half. Of course, if there was a chance to obtain some treasures that could condense one's soul, it could completely restore the damaged soul. However, one's lifespan would never be restored. Cultivating this technique required a huge price. Ordinary gold core old monsters had a lifespan of 1,000 years. If they took some longevity pills, they could even live for 1,500 years. Harmonious spirit old monsters could live for 500 years. Ning Fan had 500 years of lifespan. If it was other old monsters, they would never be willing to lose half of their lifespan to cultivate an avatar. However, Ning Fan didn't care about his lifespan. He was only 17 years old, but he had already reached the late harmonious spirit realm and intermediate gold core spirit sense. Even if he lost half of his lifespan, he could still live for 250 years. As long as he broke through to the gold core realm before the age of 250, his lifespan would increase by 500 years. Compared to the hundreds or thousands of years of lifespan, Ning Fan was more worried about Moksha Emperor's attack after 100 years. Without strength, he wouldn't be able to live for more than 100 years. What was the use of 500 years of lifespan? It wasn't difficult to make a decision. The soul psyche avatar was a fatal temptation to Ning Fan. Once the soul psyche avatar was successfully refined, it would have the strength of an intermediate gold core realm spirit sense expert. As Ning Fan's spirit sense improved, the cultivation of the soul psyche avatar would also advance. If Ning Fan's spirit sense broke through to the nascent soul realm, the cultivation of the soul psyche avatar would also advance. He could become the #1 expert in Yu country with just the soul psyche avatar. 17 years old, nascent soul realm. How could Ning Fan not be excited? In this demon sinister forest, one only needed to hunt for sense beads to advance their spirit sense. It was much faster than advancing their cultivation. This demon sinister forest seemed to be designed for the soul psyche avatar. Perhaps, the experts who nurtured ghosts in the formation originally wanted to advance the cultivation of the soul psyche avatar. I want to refine the soul psyche avatar. Ning Fan gave up the idea of going to the 3rd region. He wanted to refine an intermediate gold core psyche avatar and sweep across the 3rd region with the small sable. With this psyche avatar, he was confident that he would become the strongest expert in Yu country in a month. Little Black, wait for me obediently. I will cultivate a magical technique and bring you to the 3rd region. Ning Fan walked to the side of the stream and took off his clothes and storage pouch. After all, he needed to sever his soul to refine the avatar. Clothes, storage pouch and other external items would affect the success rate of refining the avatar. Of course, he didn't need to take off his spirit equipment, cauldron ring and yin-yang locket. The magical treasures and spirit equipment that had recognized him as their master wouldn't reject him. Ning Fan opened up an empty space with his naked body. He sat cross-legged and closed his eyes. His mind was immersed in his soul, trying to sever it into two to refine the avatar. He wasn't worried that the small sable would harm him. If it dared to do anything, he could kill it with a wave of his hand. Moreover, it seemed that the small sable wouldn't harm him. She was timid, smart, and cute. While Ning Fan was refining the avatar, the small sable was full of resentment. What sin did I commit in my previous life to meet this stinky man? My first virginity was destroyed by him. The secret treasure of the Bone Sovereign that I risked my life to steal was also taken away by him. The small sable arched its small head and rummaged through the miscellaneous items on the ground. They were the clothes and magical treasures that Ning Fan took off. Among them, there was a piece of black jade that had lost all its spirituality. It almost made the small sable cry. The inheritance could only be used once. After Ning Fan took it away, the black jade would no longer be useful. The black jade that she risked her life to steal was taken away by that stinky man so easily. This was too unfair. She didn't know what the black jade inheritance was, not even the Bone Sovereign. Because neither of them had been able to open the inheritance until now. The small sable was indignant. She couldn't understand why Ning Fan was so lucky to obtain the inheritance when she, a void fragmentation expert, couldn't open it. In fact, the black jade inheritance wasn't difficult to open. It just needed to fulfill two conditions. First, the spirit sense had to reach the nascent soul realm. Second, the token of an immortal emperor. The first condition was lowered because the black jade was destroyed. Ning Fan could barely open it with his intermediate gold core spirit sense. The second condition was the reason why the yin-yang locket sensed him. Because he had the yin-yang locket, the treasure of an immortal emperor, the black jade recognized him as an ancient immortal emperor. This black jade inheritance was stored in the Four Heavens immortal world under the jurisdiction of the ancient heavenly court. Only immortal emperors could obtain the secret techniques from it with the token. Bone Sovereign and Meiji didn't have an emperor treasure. Even if they were at the void fragmentation realm, they wouldn't be able to open the inheritance. But Ning Fan had the yin-yang locket, which was something that Meiji couldn't get. Even though Meiji felt unbalanced, she couldn't do anything about it. Who could decide the fate of a person? Who could blame if she didn't have the fortune? In her heart, she started to worry about another matter. She was afraid that Ning Fan would bring her to the third formation field to risk her life. With her harmonious spirit cultivation base, she shouldn't be able to pass through the formation realm and enter a high-level formation field. But Ning Fan seemed to have some kind of heavenly dwelling magical treasure. If Ning Fan brought her into the third formation field with his heavenly dwelling magical treasure, it would be very dangerous for her with her harmonious spirit cultivation. But if she regained her cultivation, would he still be able to force her to enter the third formation field? I don't care anymore. I will first find a way to remove the seal and restore my cultivation base. Then, I will deal with this stinky man. His 1,000-year-old spiritual herbs are with me now. Hee, I want to eat him up. Once I regain my gold core cultivation, I will suppress it to the peak of harmonious spirit and teach this stinky man a lesson in the second formation field. The sable bit opened the storage pouch. Wisps of medicinal fragrance wafted out, making her saliva flow out in an adorable manner. 1,000 years wind vine. 1,000 years lily. 1,000 years purple orchid. Hiss. 2,000 years jade bone ginseng. This stinky man, where did he get so many good medicines? Hee, this time, it's all mine. The spiritual herbs had reached 1,000 years of age. A cultivator's body wouldn't be able to withstand the strong medicinal energy. Only demonic beasts could eat spiritual herbs raw. While Ning Fan was refining his incarnation, the small sable was ruining his spiritual herbs. Many of them were essential for concocting the nascent formation pill, but they were all ruined by the small sable. Humph! Who wants him to play with my body? I will eat all of his spiritual herbs. Eat them all. Damn it! He is just a harmonious spirit cultivator. Where did he get so many high-grade spiritual herbs? I don't care. I will eat them all. Unfortunately, the sable was already full after eating 1/3 of the spiritual herbs. Her meridians couldn't withstand the medicinal energy. She hurriedly crouched on the ground. Her body emitted a faint light and a black demonic cocoon the size of half a human was formed. Inside the cocoon, she used the medicinal energy to break the seal and restore her magical power. As long as I recover my peak harmonious spirit cultivation, I will definitely teach you a lesson. She clenched her teeth. Her resentment towards Ning Fan was too deep. She didn't know who would succeed in increasing their strength first. The heavens didn't seem to be on her side. In his sea of consciousness, Ning Fan looked at the 3 spiritual and 7 physical souls that had the same face as him. The hesitation in his eyes disappeared and was replaced by determination. I will kill you and refine my incarnation. He murmured to the 3 spiritual and 7 physical souls. I am you. So be it. It will be better if I can increase my strength. The soul replied indifferently. After their conversation, Ning Fan waved his hand. A starlight sword shadow appeared in his palm. The sword cut the 3 spiritual and 7 physical souls into 2 halves from the middle. In an instant, his face turned as pale as paper. He spurted out a mouthful of blood and a few strands of white hair appeared on his temples. Young White. It was obvious how serious the injury was when Ning Fan's soul was cut. The reduction of one's lifespan meant the loss of one's life force. The loss of one's lifespan was very serious. Ning Fan, on the other hand, did the exact opposite. He used his lifespan to exchange for his cultivation base. Ning Fan, on the other hand, used his lifespan to exchange for cultivation. Blood flowed out from Ning Fan's 7 orifices. Suddenly, he opened his eyes and revealed a ruthless look. In the empty space in front of him, a ball of soul force rolled up a dim light and drew a pitch-black incarnation that looked exactly like Ning Fan. The only thing that was different from Ning Fan's clone was the strong magical power of an intermediate gold core cultivator. The incarnation was completed. Ning Fan's eyes were filled with joy. But soon, his eyes wrinkled. This incarnation seemed to be imperfect and had such a flaw. As soon as it left the body, it showed signs of dissipating. Ning Fan's expression changed drastically. If the incarnation exploded, the price of cutting his soul and reducing half of his lifespan would be in vain. Chapter 64. After keeping the incarnation in his sea of consciousness, he let out a faint sigh. The incarnation that he had painstakingly refined was actually not convenient to use. This was somewhat unacceptable. Fighting against a gold core old monster would take a few hours. Ning Fan's incarnation could only last for the time it takes for half an incense stick to burn. Apart from killing the weak, he really couldn't think of any other uses for it. At the end of the day, it was because his divine will was too weak to maintain the stability of his incarnation. He needed to improve his divine will in order for his incarnation to be useful. After putting on his clothes, Ning Fan looked at the storage pouch that had shrunk a lot. Then, he looked at the black demon cocoon that was half the height of a human. He sent his spirit sense into the demon cocoon and his expression turned strange. A mere harmonious spirit little sable dares to eat my 1,000-years-old spiritual herb. I didn't expect that this little sable isn't a harmonious spirit, but a void fragmentation. I've misjudged. Ning Fan smiled bitterly. He had never thought that he would be tricked by a small sable after tricking countless people. Now, the main ingredients for the nascent soul formation pill were all in the small sable's stomach. This was another troublesome matter. Zhang Xian rubbed his forehead. How should he deal with the little Martin? This demon was limited by the power of the formation in Nine Yin land. In the second formation region, it could only exert the strength of a peak harmonious spirit. Although he could only maintain the mind incarnation for half an incense's time, it should not be a problem for him to take down the small Martin. However, the small Martin most likely had a way to protect itself. It was not very realistic for him to capture the small Martin alive or kill it. After all, the small sable was also a void fragmentation old monster. I can't kill it, I can't catch it. But this little sable seems to be female. Ning Fan's eyes flashed. As long as it was a female, he could use the yin plucking finger. He seemed to have made a decision. He immediately took some medicine and regulated his divine soul's heavy injuries, stabilized his injuries, and recovered his strength. He sat cross-legged and waited for the little Martin to emerge from its cocoon. A day passed, and the demon cocoon finally changed color. It turned from black to white, from yin to yang. A strange fluctuation of magical power was emitted from the demon cocoon. Then, the black cocoon cracked like an eggshell, and a naked beauty with white jade lazily stretched her waist and crawled out of the demon cocoon. I have finally regained my human form. My cultivation base has also recovered to the peak of harmonious spirit realm. Do you want to teach that stinking man a lesson? This female demon was about 23 or 24 years old. Her body was as white as mutton fat jade, her legs were slender, and her lower abdomen was flat. Her figure was voluptuous and tall, revealing a mature charm. Her hair was not tied up, and it hung loosely over her shoulders like a waterfall. There were some red claw marks on her buttocks and back. They were left behind by Ning Fan when she was still in the body of a small sable. The demoness' eyes were as black as ink, with a hint of anger. This demoness looks not bad, Ning Fan murmured to himself while admiring the graceful figure of the demoness without shifting his eyes away. Stinking brat, have you seen enough? The female demon's pretty face was filled with anger. She was now at the peak of harmonious spirit realm and was no weaker than the white-boned giant devil. This stinky man was really reckless. He even dared to peek at her and take advantage of her. Was he looking for abuse? Nice figure. Ning Fan's tone carried a hint of a smile. This smile was the calmness that came from the improvement of his strength. A peak harmonious spirit demoness couldn't give him any pressure at all. Be my cauldron, be my spirit beast, or accompany me for half a month to walk around the third region. Make a choice. Ning Fan's tone was as if he was going to eat the demoness, making her both angry and frightened. What surprised her was that Ning Fan was too calm. What he was angry about was naturally Ning Fan's arrogant tone. Cauldron? Spirit beast? How dare he say that? Who does he think he is? Immortals? How dare he take in a void fragmentation realm female demon as his spiritual beast? As for accompanying him for half a month. Humph. She seemed to have accompanied this stinky man for 5 days. Moreover, this stinking man was audacious to the extreme. He even wanted to abduct her into the third formation region. He was utterly shameless and had no regard for his life. The demoness' pretty face changed from embarrassment to coldness. She didn't have to be angry to be dignified. She covered her chest with her hands, exuding an aura of inviolability. Don't provoke me anymore, or you'll regret it. A ripple of magical power that was infinitely close to the gold core realm spread out from the demoness' body. However, when the ripple reached Ning Fan's front, it was strangely bounced back. In an instant, Ning Fan did not give the female demon any chance to attack. With a move of his sea of consciousness, a black shadow immediately dashed out from his body. It emitted the aura force of an intermediate gold core realm and approached the female demon. The demoness' beautiful eyes were filled with shock. An intermediate gold core incarnation. Only void fragmentation old monsters can cultivate an incarnation technique. How can you have it? Ah! Let go. The black shadow was too fast. The peak harmonious spirit demoness couldn't defend against it. In a flash, the black shadow appeared behind the demoness. His fingertips circulated the plucking finger and poked several times on her back. At the same time, he released his spirit sense into the demoness sea of consciousness. She didn't know what he did, but he quickly withdrew his spirit sense. After a series of strange actions, the black shadow shattered and disappeared. What did you do? The demoness was shocked. That black shadow was definitely created by an incarnation technique. It was Ning Fan without a doubt. Just a few pokes from Ning Fan's finger had caused the magical power in her body to become chaotic. The demoness gritted her teeth and forcefully calmed her chi to recover some of her strength. Her mind turned and seemed to have understood something. She sneered and said, "No." That black shadow disappeared in a flash. Your incarnation technique hasn't been completely mastered. There are still flaws. Your flawed incarnation can't catch me. Ning Fan's eyes flashed and revealed a harmless smile. Just as the demoness had guessed, his incarnation still had flaws. He couldn't use it as he wished and it couldn't leave his body for too long. The void fragmentation demoness really couldn't be underestimated. Her eyesight wasn't weak and she actually had a way to resist the plucking finger. Fortunately, the moment the black shadow appeared, he had already planted a restriction on the demoness, forcing her to obey him. He didn't take advantage of the situation to humiliate or force the demoness. He had to use different methods to deal with different people. The demoness was a void fragmentation expert and had her own dignity. If she was cornered, she would rather commit suicide than be controlled by Ning Fans. Moreover, Ning Fan didn't really think that he could subdue the demoness as his cauldron. Plucking this demoness was simply a joke. The void fragmentation demoness primordial energy contained vast magical power. A drop of primordial blood could easily explode 100 Ning Fans. Plucking also depended on the target. Subduing the demoness as a spirit beast was also an unattainable wish. With Ning Fan's cautious personality, he would rather have nothing than a substandard one. He absolutely wouldn't accept a hidden danger by his side. He couldn't subdue her and he couldn't kill her. If he pushed her too far, she might have some life-saving means to perish together with him. A void fragmentation old monster couldn't be predicted with common sense. Moreover, although the atmosphere between Ning Fan and the demoness was tense, they didn't have the intention to kill each other. After all, they had been together for 5 days. They had eaten together, bathed together and touched each other's body parts. This complicated feeling made it hard for the demoness to kill Ning Fans. The demoness of the Yellow Spring Mink was named Mei Chen and was called Mei Ji among the ghosts. This demoness had a fiery temper that even Bone Sovereign couldn't threaten, so it was normal that Ning Fan couldn't subdue her as a cauldron. Mei Chen, the Yellow Spring Mink. A terrifying demonic beast that advanced by eating ghosts. Just a trace of her aura could make ordinary ghosts tremble in fear. Mei Chen's eyes were extremely complicated. She hated Ning Fan, but she couldn't kill him. Moreover, it seemed like she might not be a match for Ning Fans. I have already recovered my peak harmonious spirit cultivation base, but I still can't defeat him. That incarnation is most likely the secret art of the Black Jade. Speaking of which, this stinky man has to learn the most shameless enchantment art out of all the other arts. Mei Chen cursed in her heart. She could faintly see that Ning Fans didn't have the intention to subdue her as a cauldron and spiritual beast. Otherwise, Ning Fan wouldn't have asked her to accompany him for 15 days. What do you want? The demoness gritted her teeth and tried her best to keep her murderous tone. But when she saw Ning Fan's unruffled smile, she became angry again. She had such a bad temper. Accompany me to the 3rd region for a stroll. Lend me your deterrent force against ghosts. Ning Fan smiled faintly. No. If I enter the 3rd region, the gold core subordinates of Bone Sovereign will gang up on me. I don't want to die with you. The demoness gritted her teeth. Bone Sovereign? Oh, the original body of the White Bone Devil? Don't worry. Even if the Bone Sovereign sends a peak gold core incarnation, what's there to be afraid of? I need a large number of gold core sense beads to break through to the nascent soul realm. If you help me, I have even more 1,000-year-old spirit herbs for you to eat. This isn't a threat, but a negotiation. You don't need to feel dissatisfied. Ning Fan said lightly. What does your business have to do with me? I have nothing to talk about with you. I'm already giving you face by not killing you. Why don't you go and ask if I, Mei Chen, have ever been lenient in killing people? Mei Chen knitted her brows. She wouldn't go to the third region no matter what. However, Ning Fan's millennium spiritual herbs were indeed good things that she needed urgently. Should I snatch the herbs from this stinky man? Mei Chen's eyes flashed with a trace of dominance. If you don't help me, I will probably die in the third region. You will regret it at that time. Ning Fan smiled inexplicably. Mei Chen's face turned slightly red from his words. It's better if you die. Why would I regret it? Mei Chen's tone wasn't as firm as before. If it wasn't too dangerous, she might be willing to help Ning Fan. I have planted a restrictive spell in your sea of consciousness just now. If I die, you will die too. Ning Fan smiled faintly. His words were like thunder from the 9 heavens, shaking Mei Chen's mind. Mei Chen immediately checked her sea of consciousness and found out that there was a small restrictive spell planted in her sea of consciousness. She showed an angry expression. She didn't expect Ning Fan to be so shameless. Why are you like this? If you want to go to the third region to die, why do you have to bring me along? Why do you want me to go crazy with you? She felt that she was about to explode from anger. She had never been so angry in her life. Just now, she didn't notice that the shadow had done something to her sea of consciousness because she was hit by the Yin plucking finger. It was the restrictive spell that was planted at that time. Life and death restrictive spell. It was a restrictive spell that was similar to the restrictive spell. However, its effect was very different from the restrictive spell. The restrictive spell could only be planted with the consent of both parties and the owner could control the life and death of the person who planted the spell. Life and death restrictive spell wasn't as troublesome. As long as your spirit sense surpassed the other party, the spell could be planted even if the other party was unwilling. However, no one was stupid enough to plant such a spell except for Ning Fan. As the name suggested, life and death restrictive spell would allow the two of them to live and die together for a certain period of time. If Ning Fan died, Mei Chen would die. If Mei Chen died, Ning Fan couldn't live either. The power of Ning Fan's spell could only last for half a month. After half a month, he would leave the demon sinister forest and no longer have anything to do with Mei Chen. During this half a month, he was willing to borrow Mei Chen's power to kill more gold core ghosts. Ning Fan wasn't someone who would suffer losses. After all, he had eaten so many millennium spiritual herbs, there must be some compensation. Life and death restrictive spell was a good solution. Not only could he use Mei Chen to deter the ghosts, but he could also ensure that she wouldn't stab him in the back. If the two of them were to die, they would die together. Even though Ning Fan also had to bear the risk of Mei Chen's death, he believed that it would be difficult for Mei Chen who could escape from Bone Sovereign's hands to die. Although she looked timid, there really might not be anyone who could kill her. Die with me, or live with me. Ning Fan's smile made Mei Chen even angrier. You are ruthless. This is the first time I, Mei Chen, was threatened by someone and I have no choice but to obey. Mei Chen gritted her teeth. She had never seen an idiot who would use his own life to threaten others. Ning Fan was a madman, absolutely a madman. She was a void fragmentation old expert, but she was already so timid. Ning Fan was just a harmonious spirit expert, but he dared to run away from danger. Was he crazy? Although danger and opportunity coexisted in the cultivation world, the risk this brat was taking was too great. Little Black, you have to be obedient. After entering the third region, you will turn into a small sable and hide in my bosom. Ning Fan's smile was as irritating as ever. His words were even more irritating. My name is Mei Chen, not Little Black. By the way, quickly give me some clothes to wear. My storage pouch has fallen into the third region. I don't have any clothes. Isn't it just half a month? I will accompany you for half a month. After half a month, you better scram as far as you can. As you wish. Without another word, Ning Fan patted his storage pouch and took out a set of clothes and threw it to the female demon. It was a man's clothing, and it carried Ning Fan's manly scent. The female demon frowned, but she had no choice but to put it on. She was a demon, so her sense of smell was far superior to humans. Her nose was filled with Ning Fan's scent. This damned smell, this damned smile, this damned gentleness. She was inexplicably touched by Ning Fan. She was inexplicably implanted with the life and death restriction by Ning Fan and dragged to the third region. Who wants to live and die with you, you stinky man? You'd better die quickly so that I can live happily on my own. This was the first time in her life that she hated a man so much. However, she had no way to kill him, nor did she have the determination to do so. She felt a chill when she thought that she would have to turn back into a small sable and return to Ning Fan's bosom. However, she didn't realize that these short days with Ning Fan were the most peaceful days of her life. She didn't need to worry about being eaten by demonic beasts and ghosts when she was asleep. She didn't need to face a group of ghosts when she opened her eyes. All the dangers were taken care of by Ning Fan alone. All she needed to do was to be a small sable, hide in a safe haven, and let people stroke its soft fur comfortably. The seal on her cultivation seemed to have sealed her coldest and most aloof void fragmentation aura. Perhaps this manly smile would still be hard to erase after many years. A day later, a young man in white robes and black cloak swept through the entire second region with the small sable in one hand and the separation slayer in the other. Then, he entered the third region with the white bone sword under his feet. The small sable in his bosom had recovered its early gold core cultivation after consuming a few thousand-years-old spiritual herbs. As soon as the demonic aura dispersed, the entire third region and thousands of miles of area, including ghosts in the form of young masters and beauties, were shocked and frightened. So scary. So scary. Meiji is back. She is back. Inside the merit hall of Sinister Sparrow Sect, Ning Fan's merit points were close to Yan Zhuiyun's, and he was ranked 46th on the merit scale. 189,754 contribution points. Yan Zhuiyun's expression was a little nervous. His 190,000 contribution points that was ranked 45th was about to be surpassed. Although he knew that his contribution points would be surpassed, he didn't expect that Ning Fan's would surpass him in just 17 days. Seeing the merit steel flash, Yan Zhuiyun immediately held his breath. He could even feel his own heartbeat. I am about to be surpassed. Ning Fan is indeed worthy of his name. I am not as good as him. While he was sighing, he was suddenly dumbfounded. Countless harmonious spirit experts in the merit hall revealed a shocked expression. Even the gold core old devils revealed a look of disbelief. Ning Fan's merit points increased by 2,000 points in an instant. 2,000 points. Only by killing a gold core ghost could one obtain such a high amount of contribution points. Ning Fan must have killed a gold core ghost, and gold core ghosts could only be found in the third region and above. He entered the third region. He can even kill a gold core ghost. Impossible. None of the gold core experts dared to look at Ning Fan as if he was a junior. Lan Mei was nervous. The thing she was most worried about had finally happened. She didn't understand. She didn't understand why Ning Fan didn't know what was good for him and risked his life in the third region. Why did she steal the map and give it to him? Dad! Go and save Ning Fan. There are peak gold core old devils in the third region. Ning Fan will be in danger. Lan Mei begged. No need. Sinister Sparrow smiled bitterly. Only Sinister Sparrow knew that Ning Fan had managed to kill a spirit-severing old devil before this. Since he dared to enter the third region, he must be confident. Sinister Sparrow himself didn't believe that a junior like Ning Fan could fight a gold core ghost with his harmonious spirit cultivation. But he didn't know why he had endless confidence in Ning Fan. Chapter 65. The third region was filled with green bamboos and towering bamboo buildings. Within thousands of miles, the scenery was beautiful. But all of these were illusions. If it wasn't for the black fog that covered the sky, no one would have thought that this was a place where ghosts lived. Each of the sage-like experts was actually a gold core ferocious soul. This place wasn't a paradise, but a place of great danger. The order from Bone Sovereign shocked the third region. Many of the ghosts who had developed spiritual wisdom moved out to search for the two people who had offended Bone Sovereign. One of them was naturally Mei Chen, who had stolen the treasure of Bone Sovereign. Although the ghosts were afraid of her, she was severely injured, so they could beat her when she was down. The other one was the one who killed Bone Sovereign's avatar. According to the connection between Bone Sovereign and his avatar, the one who killed his avatar should be a human devil cultivator. Bone Sovereign's order was equivalent to sentencing Ning Fan to death. In the deep mountains and forests, gold core experts were traversing across the sky. Each of the experts carried a murderous aura, and each of them had a cold expression. They were at least at the early gold core realm. In the outside world, they were even stronger than some gold core old monsters. Ning Fan carefully released his spirit sense at the top of a barren mountain. He heaved a sigh of relief after avoiding the pursuit of the ghost soldiers. Just now, he sneaked close to a lone ghost and split his avatar to kill it with lightning speed. At the same time he obtained a gold core sense bead, he attracted the pursuit of countless experts because of the huge commotion. It wasn't normal for him to be chased by all the ghosts after killing one ghost. Ning Fan didn't believe that these ghosts wanted to avenge their companion. He remained silent and patted his storage pouch to retrieve the remnant soul of the gold core ghost. It was better for him to know more about this place since he had just entered this dangerous place. This early gold core ghost was called Zhou Ming. His memory of his life was blurred, but his memory of becoming a ghost was clear. The ghost race in the third region was originally divided into 15 tribes. 3 of them were close to the demon race and resisted the rule of Bone Sovereign. The ones who were chasing after Ning Fan were the ghost experts of the other 12 tribes. So that void fragmentation old monster was called Bone Sovereign. The 12 ghost clans actually wanted to kill me because of a single order from him. Ning Fan's eyes turned cold and he continued reading his memories. This gold core ghost named Zhou Ming had an arrogant and conceited personality. He had once rejected the recruitment of the 12 ghost tribes and disdained to have dealings with the 3 ghost tribes that were close to demons. The reason why he went out alone this time was just to fish in troubled waters and pick up some benefits. However, Ning Fan took the opportunity to eliminate him. In Zhou Ming's memories, every tribe had stored many ghost prayer beads. Ghosts were unable to consume the rosary beads. Its only use was to refine in-soul magical treasures. A golden core stage ghost actually used sense beads to refine a magic weapon. This undoubtedly increased the difficulty of killing it. After searching his soul and memory, Zhou Ming's soul exploded. As for Ning Fan, he held his chin and muttered to himself. The risk of killing the ghost and seizing the pearl was not small. Now that the third region was in a mess, everyone was actually trying to capture him. It was something that he did not expect. Now, as long as he killed a ghost, his identity would immediately be exposed, and in an instant, countless ghosts would chase after him. This was the power of the Bone Sovereign. With just a word, countless experts would die for him. It was extremely unrealistic to travel unhindered in the third region. Perhaps, it would be better to return to the second region and kill the harmonious spirit ghosts. There were still a lot of harmonious spirit sense beads in his storage pouch, but he found that after his spirit sense broke through to intermediate gold core realm, the effects of using the harmonious spirit sense beads were negligible. It might be safe to return to the second region until the end of the assessment, but it was impossible to break through to nascent soul spirit sense realm. Staying here would be extremely dangerous. There was almost no chance of survival. Leaving here was also somewhat unreconciled. Ning Fan took out Zhou Ming's storage pouch and suddenly had a bold idea. He could kill two birds with one stone. If he disguised himself as Zhou Ming and went to a ghost tribe to wreak havoc and steal the sense beads and spiritual herbs, what would happen? A ghost tribe had at least hundreds of gold core sense beads. With so many sense beads, it would be enough for his spirit sense to break through to late gold core realm. Ning Fan knew that with his current strength, even with the help of the small sable, he would not be able to collect a few sense beads in half a month. Moreover, he would most likely be chased by countless ghosts. Being able to obtain hundreds of sense beads without bloodshed was naturally the best outcome. He pondered for a moment and said to the small sable in his bosom, "Blackie, I want to sneak into a ghost tribe to steal something." The small sable was lazily taking a nap in his bosom. When it heard Ning Fan's words, it quivered and all the hair on its back stood up. It rebuked, "Are you crazy? You are a living human. If you sneak into a ghost tribe, you will be discovered in an instant. Don't you want to live anymore? Even the weakest ghost clan has dozens of ghosts at the peak of the gold core realm. When they attack you together, you will definitely die, idiot. Don't worry, I have a way to hide my human identity. Who is worried about you? I am just afraid that you will die in vain and cause me to die with you." The small sable curled its lips. Its temper had been too strong recently. "I won't die as long as I am careful." Ning Fan slightly smiled. He spread out his spirit sense and wrapped it around his body. In an instant, a cold ghost chi rose from his body and his cultivation base became uncertain. It was like a late harmonious spirit, but also like an intermediate gold core. Of course, it was just an illusion. Intermediate gold core was just an illusion. This magical technique wasn't the false thought art. It was just using the chi of the soul of his second incarnation to cover the yang chi on his body, making him look like a ghost. However, it wouldn't allow him to unleash his intermediate gold core magical power or change his appearance. If I disguise myself as the wrongful death ghost, no one should be able to recognize me. After all, Zhou Ming has always been a loner and arrogant. He doesn't have any familiar people. Although it could conceal the yang chi of a living human, it couldn't change his appearance or disguise his cultivation base. However, these 2 points weren't a problem for Ning Fan. There were very few people who were familiar with Zhou Ming. Almost no one knew what he looked like. As for his cultivation base, his seemingly uncertain cultivation base could cause others to misunderstand that he was about to break through intermediate gold core. That was why his fluctuating chi matched Zhou Ming's identity as an early gold core cultivator. However, if he disguises himself as Zhou Ming, then the biggest flaw wouldn't be Ning Fan's but the yellow spring sable, Mei Chen. After all, Mei Chen's suppressive force on ghosts was too strong. It seemed like he had to keep Mei Chen in his cauldron ring for the time being. He opened Zhou Ming's storage pouch and found 2 magical treasures refined from sense beads. Both of them were intermediate early rank magical treasures. The other was a small black defensive shield called the Iron Bone Shield. The other one was a lotus-shaped concealed magical treasure called the Black Lotus Nail. There was also a wooden plate in the storage pouch with Zhou Ming's name written on it. It seemed to be the identity token of the Ghost Clan. It seemed like it wouldn't be a problem as long as he hid the small sable and disguised himself as Zhou Ming. Once he sneaks into a ghost clan, he could steal hundreds of sense beads and his spirit sense would break through to the late gold core realm. His eyes revealed a determined look and said to the small sable, "I have decided to sneak into a ghost clan and steal the sense beads." For safety's sake, I will choose the weakest ghost clan. Among the 15 ghost clans, the Tooth clan seems to be the weakest. The stolen sense beads belong to me and the spiritual herbs belong to you. Even if I'm seen through, I can still escape. If there's a chance, it's not impossible to annihilate the Tooth clan. The small sable frowned. Ning Fan didn't give her a chance to refuse. Would she be able to stop Ning Fan from sneaking into the ghost clan? But when she heard that Ning Fan wanted to destroy the Tooth clan, the small sable immediately showed a pleading look. Don't go to the Tooth clan, why? Ning Fan raised his eyebrows. Could it be that this Mei Chen was related to the Tooth clan? Not only the Tooth clan, but also the Purple clan and the Red clan. You are not allowed to go to these 3 clans. They used to be my subordinates, although they have betrayed me now. The small sable added in a low voice with a trace of sadness in her eyes. The Tooth clan was the weakest ghost clan. Ning Fan's chances of success and safety were the highest if he sneaked into the Tooth clan. However, the small sable's pleading touched Ning Fan's heart. He smiled and changed his plan. This sable girl had a complicated personality. She was indecisive and timid, as if she didn't deserve to be a void fragmentation expert. However, there was one thing that Ning Fan admired. This sable girl was sentimental and sentimental. It was because of this that Ning Fan was willing to take the risk for the mink girl. Alright, I won't touch these 3 clans. Let's change our target to the Green clan. There are a total of 11 peak gold core experts in the Green clan. Even I have to be careful in order to not get into trouble. Thank you, but you are sneaking into the Ghost clan. Where should I hide? Could it be, there? The small sable looked at the cauldron ring on Ning Fan's left wrist and blushed. She knew that the magical treasure was not only a heavenly dwelling magical treasure, but also used to store cauldrons. It seemed like this stinky man had stored a lot of women in it. You already know the answer. Ning Fan teased while looking at the golden sense bead in his hand. It was from Zhou Ming's body. This sense bead had a certain amount of blood veins and turned golden. The evil Yin energy made Ning Fan's divine soul shiver. In order to remove the evil Yin energy from the sense bead, the second revolution soul nurturing pill was not enough. He would at least need to concoct a third revolution profound dark pill before he dared to consume it. Without the profound dark pill, consuming the sense bead recklessly would only be courting death. The dozens of soul-nurturing pills in his storage pouch would be useless. While he was deep in thought, his expression suddenly changed. He quickly kept the sense bead and didn't have time to explain to the small sable. He waved the cauldron ring and sent the small sable into the red misty space. The small sable exclaimed. Before she could react, she had already appeared in a paradise with green mountains and clear waters. Damn it! You really put me in here. You. The small sable was a little angry. Then, a pile of 1,000-years-old spiritual herbs were thrown in from the outside and rained on the small sable's head. At the same time, Ning Fan's voice was heard. You stay in the cauldron ring and take the spiritual herbs to restore your strength. Try to recover to peak gold core realm. At that time, you can help me. Someone is coming from outside. I'm afraid they are chasing after your chi. Ning Fan's explanation made the small sable's expression change. She was a little scared. An expert came to kill her so soon. After entering the cauldron ring and being hit by the red mist, the small sable couldn't maintain her human form and turned back into a naked beauty. Her eyes were full of anger and shame. Is this Ning Fan looking at me? Is he peeping at me? He actually put me into the cauldron ring. Does this stinky man really want to use me as his cauldron? With that small body of his, can he pluck me? Ning Fan's robe fell from the sky again. Mei Chen wore the robe. Although she hated Ning Fan's smell, she didn't want to be naked and be seen by Ning Fan. Her gaze fell on the countless spiritual herbs on the ground. It was only at this moment that her mood improved. Wait until I recover to peak Gold Core realm. I will teach you a good lesson. She sat on the grass and bit a Bodhi fruit. The milky white medicinal juice flowed out from her red lips. It was a little ambiguous. This heavenly dwelling magical treasure is really mysterious. This is my first time seeing it with my own eyes. The last time I came here, I was dizzy and couldn't see it clearly. Mei Chen's mood was getting better. Her eyes swept around while eating the spiritual herbs. There was a hint of surprise in her beautiful eyes. It was a very strange heavenly dwelling magical treasure. She wondered how Ning Fan got it. In the outside world, Ning Fan stood on the hill with a frown, but it soon relaxed. At the foot of the hill, dozens of tyrannical rays of light flew over, heading straight for the peak of the mountain that towered into the clouds. They were chasing after Mei Chen and his chi. Kill them. There is Mei Chen's chi up there. In just 2 breaths' time, more than 60 gold core ghosts landed on the peak of the mountain and surrounded Ning Fan. However, Mei Chen's chi disappeared when they reached the peak of the mountain. This puzzled the ghosts. They didn't see Mei Chen run away, so why did she disappear? The leader was an old man in bone armor. His eyes fell on Ning Fan. He saw that Ning Fan was just a gold core ghost who was about to break through to intermediate gold core realm. This old man is the great elder of the Bone clan, Gu Mo. Which clan are you from? What's your name? Have you seen the traitor Mei Chen run away from here? The old man in bone armor had a half-step nascent soul cultivation base. He was the elder of the Bone clan and the Ghost clan. When he spoke, he squinted his eyes and acted like an old man. He didn't put Ning Fan in his eyes at all. The old man believed that he could kill a mere intermediate gold core ghost with just a wave of his hand. If it wasn't for Mei Chen's whereabouts, the old man wouldn't even bother to talk to Ning Fan. Ning Fan smiled in his heart when he saw the old man didn't attack him. It seemed like he had succeeded in playing the role of a ghost. Even a half-step nascent soul expert couldn't see through his identity as a living person. His mind was filled with thoughts in just a flash. Ning Fan took a deep breath and put on a fearful expression. He cupped his fists and said to the old man in bone armor. His body seemed to be trembling, making him look extremely timid. Junior Zhou Ming is a free person. I don't belong to any ghost clan. To make a long story short, this old man isn't interested in your background. Just say it, did you see the traitor Mei Chen? When the old man heard the 2 words Zhou Ming, he felt that it was strange and immediately showed an impatient expression. Yes. Just now, this junior was dizzy and saw a black shadow flashing past. It went to the north. I didn't see anything else clearly. According to what Senior said, that black shadow is the Mei Chen who offended the Bone Sovereign. Ning Fan's expression seemed to be a little frightened and his body trembled even more violently. Yes, it's her. What are you afraid of? A tiger without its teeth can't do anything anymore. She is already seriously injured. I'm afraid her cultivation base can't even reach the gold core realm. If you were more courageous just now, you might be able to take down this demon and make a great contribution. Regret your cowardice, brat. The old man snorted coldly and no longer looked at Ning Fan. In his eyes, Ning Fan was as timid as a mouse. His cultivation base was low and his chi was weak. He led a group of experts and went straight to the north. After the old man and his group left, Ning Fan's fearful expression disappeared. His face was as still as a mountain. The corner of his eyes shrunk and his eyes turned solemn. Bone Clan. Among the 15 ghost clans in the 3rd region, the Ghost Clan is ranked 3rd. I didn't expect it to be so powerful. A half-step nascent soul expert is already invincible in Yu country, but in the demon sinister forest, he is only the great elder of Bone Clan. The overall strength of the ghosts in the 3rd region was much stronger than Yu country. In the 4th region, a slightly stronger ghost king was enough to destroy Yu country. The 5th region, the 6th region, the Bone Sovereign who ruled the 7th region was the one he offended. He was an existence that countless of ghosts feared. So what if he offended the Bone Sovereign? Ning Fan was extremely daring. If he had the chance, he would even kill the Bone Sovereign with a single slash. He wouldn't show any mercy. As long as my spirit sense breaks through to the late Gold Core realm, it won't be difficult to kill the Great Elder of Bone Clan with the help of my incarnation and the small sable. If the bone-armored old man heard Ning Fan's indifferent words, he would be extremely shocked. The young man who seemed so timid just now actually wanted to kill him after he left? How could he be so daring? Ning Fan kept his expression and flew towards the eastern region of the 3rd region in a flash. There were many rivers in the eastern region. The Green Clan was located at the banks of these rivers. To subvert the 3rd region, he would start from the Green Clan. Green Clan had 1152 early Gold Core ghosts, 449 intermediate ghosts, 124 late ghosts, 11 peak ghosts, and none of them were false nascent soul experts. Chapter 66. On this day, a young man named Zhou Ming joined the Green Clan in a low-key manner. Rumor had it that Zhou Ming's cultivation base was fluctuating. Sometimes his chi was at harmonious spirit realm, sometimes intermediate Gold Core realm. The person he chose to kill was a medical officer who had just formed his core and had yet to stabilize his cultivation base. There were also rumors that Zhou Ming was arrogant and had rejected the recruitment of the Great Elder. In short, none of the rumors about Zhou Ming were good. If there was a rumor that was pleasing to the ear, it would be a rumor. Zhou Ming was a handsome and slim young man. It seemed that there were already many female ghosts who had their eyes on Zhou Ming and wanted to have sex with him. If they could pluck Zhou Ming, it was unknown how many female ghosts would be so happy that they would forget about home and home. This news wasn't good news to Ning Fan either. This was because he was Zhou Ming. In a remote bamboo house in the Green Clan, Ning Fan exhaled a mouthful of turbid qi to recover his injuries from the fight. During the day, he killed the medical officer, Yellow Evil, joined the Green Clan and seized his position. However, he suffered serious injuries. He couldn't use his incarnation, Separation Slayer, the 2 styles of sword qi and the small sable. Other than the 2 ghost magical treasures he got from Zhou Ming, he didn't use anything else. In order to avoid exposing his identity, he only relied on his intermediate Gold Core spirit sense, the Iron Bone Shield and the Black Lotus Nail. After a few twists and turns, he was only slightly stronger than Yellow Evil and killed him. As such, he finally got what he wanted and joined the Green Clan in a low-key manner. According to his original plan, he was going to challenge the Elder in charge of the vault. However, the Elder was a late Gold Core expert. Ning Fan knew that even if he used his full strength, he might not be able to kill him. Thus, he had to give up his initial plan. Otherwise, he would kill the Elder and replace him. At this moment, he would no longer be the medical officer of the Green Clan, but the Elder of the vault. He could easily open the vault and steal all the sense beads and spiritual herbs without anyone noticing. This is really troublesome. But Master once said that the road to happiness is strewn with setbacks. One who can endure is a devil. Only when night fell did he fully recover from his injuries. He was planning how to approach the vault of Green Clan and steal all the sense beads. The security of the vault was extremely strict. Normally, there would be at least 10 intermediate Gold Core experts and 50 early Gold Core experts taking turns to guard it. He pushed open the door and walked out, trying to walk around the tribe to find an opportunity. Unexpectedly, as soon as he stepped out of the door, 2 female ghosts descended from the sky, blocking his way. Of the 2 female ghosts, one was wearing a white dress and white embroidered shoes. However, there were bloody holes in her eyes, as if her eyes had been gouged out. Her face was bright and clean, and she was quite pretty. Her breasts were perky, and her waist was slender. If she could regain her sight, she would definitely be a beautiful woman. As for the other female ghost, she wore a bright red dress, and her lips were as red as blood. Even her pupils were slightly red, and there was a bloody hole in her lower abdomen that could never be healed. Her appearance was originally delicate and beautiful, yet her blood-red eyes were filled with tears of blood, and they carried boundless resentment, causing the veins on her face to bulge out, causing her to seem savage and terrifying. Young Master Zhou Ming, please wait. According to the rules of our Green Clan, those who join our clan are not allowed to walk at night for 10 years. The white-clothed woman's voice was as clear as spring water. It was pleasing to the ears. Just her voice alone was enough to make up for her terrifying appearance. As for the red-robed female ghost, her expression was ferocious. She bared her teeth and her blood-red eyes showed contempt towards Ning Fan. Humph! You are not allowed to walk at night. Her long fingernails were gesturing at Ning Fan from afar. A trace of dangerous blood-red light was circulating on her fingertips. Oh. I joined the clan, but I'm not allowed to walk at night. I see. Ning Fan pondered for a moment and understood why the Green Clan restricted the newly joined ghosts to not walk at night for 10 years. It was easy to understand. There was no guarantee that the newly joined ghosts wouldn't have evil intentions. They might even harm the tribe. For example, Ning Fan's motive for joining the Green Clan wasn't pure. Within 10 years, the newly joined ghosts would be monitored by 2 experts. Those who were monitoring Ning Fan were the 2 strange-looking female ghosts in front of him. Ning Fan's eyes moved. The white-clothed female ghost was an early gold core cultivator, while the red-clothed female ghost was an intermediate gold core cultivator. Moreover, both of them had condensed magical power, which meant that they were experienced in killing. However, no matter how powerful these 2 female ghosts were, they were still females. Ning Fan's eyes moved. He wanted to see if he could take them down without anyone noticing. His face was still maintaining a harmless smile. His feet lightly touched the ground, secretly separating his second incarnation from his original body. He was trying to get close to the 2 females. If his incarnation could get close to the 2 females, Ning Fan was confident that he could subdue them with his plucking finger. However, the moment Ning Fan released his incarnation, the 2 females vaguely felt that something was wrong. They twisted their slender waist and distanced themselves from Ning Fan. At the same time, they waved their palms. Crystal whistling arrows appeared in their palms. As long as Ning Fan made a move, they would crush the whistling arrows and awaken all the ghosts in the clan. What are you trying to do? The white-clothed female scolded softly. She seemed to be at a loss. Apparently, she didn't expect that this harmless young man would want to sneak an attack on her. The red-clothed female's eyes were filled with blood-red light. Her eyes were filled with killing intent. However, the contempt she had for Ning Fan had vanished. What a cautious woman. She was indeed a keen intuition trained in the demon sinister forest. Ning Fan was very careful when he attacked the 2 females with his incarnation, but the 2 of them escaped by instinct. It seemed like it wasn't easy to sneak an attack on them. I don't want to do anything. It's just that the night is too short. I want to have a drink with the 2 beauties. I wonder if the 2 of you can do me the honor. No need. You stay in the house. You are not allowed to walk at night. Besides, I'm blind, not a beauty. The white-clothed female ghost didn't expect that Ning Fan would invite her. She had never been called a beauty before. Her face blushed slightly, all the way to her neck. Her snow-white skin had a tinge of pink. As for the red-clothed ghost at the side, it was rare for her to put away her cold expression and actually burst out laughing. You said that we are beauties. Ha! You are really a fool. Hurry up and go back. Just because you called me a beauty, even if you didn't do anything to me, I will forgive you. However, there won't be a next time. No matter what your purpose of coming to Green Clan is, it's better to restrain yourself before you have the strength. The 2 females left and disappeared into the night. However, Ning Fan knew that the two of them were still watching him from the vicinity of his house. He was afraid that the two of them wouldn't show any mercy the next time he attacked them. Interesting female ghosts. It seems like it won't be easy to do anything while they are watching me. If I can't do it at night, I'll do it during the day. There will always be a way, right? Ning Fan smiled faintly and turned back to his house. His movements were calm as if his state of mind wasn't disturbed by the previous incident. When he turned around, he spoke indifferently. May I know the names of the two fairies? As soon as his words faded, a soft rustling sound of clothes was heard from the bushes beside him. It was the white-clothed female ghost who got nervous and fell to the ground. This female ghost was too shy. I'm not a fairy. My name is, the red-clothed female ghost covered her mouth before she could finish her words. Are you stupid? Stupid girl. You just said your name when she asked for it. The red-clothed female ghost's lips were as red as blood. She smiled. My name is Heartbroken. She is blind. As for you, your name is Malicious. Be careful. Not everyone in Green Clan is as kind as us. If you're not careful, you'll end up like the both of us, said Jiang Chen with a smile. Is that so? Thanks for the reminder. Ning Fan closed the door and went back to his house. There seemed to be some kind of restriction in the bodies of the two females. They aren't people of Green Clan. Perhaps they were captured. That's why they were implanted with restriction and had their eyes and intestines cut off. Ghost slaves. Two words suddenly emerged in Ning Fan's mind. Different tribes in the third region weren't united. These two females must be people from other tribes. They were captured by Green Clan and were implanted with restriction to be their ghost slaves. Do I need to break the restriction for them? Although they have ghost bodies and I can't pluck them, I don't mind having two cauldrons to chat with. Humans and ghosts couldn't be together, otherwise, their cultivation would be greatly damaged. Ning Fan didn't come to Green Clan to capture cauldrons. With the help of the two females, he would have a way to sneak into the vault and plunder the sense beads of spiritual herbs. Chapter 67. When he pushed the door open, it was already daytime. The two girls who were monitoring him seemed to have left to rest. He wasn't restricted from going out during the day. However, he was afraid that he couldn't freely enter and exit the tribe's encampment. The ghosts in Green Clan don't have a clear hierarchy. They aren't united either. It can even be said that the ghosts that joined Green Clan have different purposes. Ning Fan's eyes seemed to be able to see through people's hearts. He pushed open the bamboo fence and walked in the forest. His eyes swept across the ghost experts that he passed by. Everyone had their own purpose. There was only one word that could make a group of gold core ghosts gather: benefits. The elder who was guarding the vault might steal something that he was guarding. It could even be said that the late gold core elder was being monitored by 10 intermediate and 50 early gold core ghosts. Each of them had their own agenda. This was the most suitable word to describe the ghosts in the tribe. Ning Fan's wasn't the only one who wanted to rob the vault. The entire Green Clan had ulterior motives. The vault of the tribe was located at the end of the bamboo forest. There was an invisible formation covering the place. There were also gold core experts hidden everywhere guarding the place. The security was quite tight. He came to the vault to inquire about the layout of the vault, the layout of the formation and the distribution of experts. After that, he would make a detailed plan to steal the sense beads. Every month, the medical officer could come to the vault to collect a certain amount of herbs for concocting pills. Ning Fan wanted to use this reason to find out more about the vault. When Ning Fan walked out of the vault, he encountered a ghost that was trying to steal the herbs and was discovered by the formation. That ghost was an early gold core expert. In Yu country, he could be considered as a first-class expert. However, his spirit sense couldn't detect that there was a defensive formation outside the vault. As soon as the formation was activated, the ghost's expression changed drastically. He retreated in a hurry, but it was too late. As soon as the formation was activated, an irresistible sense spread out. The gold core ghost screamed and was burned to ashes in just a breath's time. Another early gold core herb thief. Every once in a while, there would be someone who doesn't know life from death and wants to rob the spiritual herbs in the vault. In the dark, a few sneers were heard. They seemed to be sneering at the ghost that died in vain and at Ning Fan's. In the eyes of these experts, Ning Fan's purpose of joining the Green Clan was most likely to be the spiritual herbs in the vault. This was not difficult to guess, because many of them chose to guard the treasury for this reason. Ning Fan stopped and did not move forward anymore. The invisible formation was right in front of him. Indistinctly, he could feel the chi of countless hidden experts. Their concealment techniques were extremely profound. If Ning Fan did not completely release his spirit sense, he would definitely not be able to detect them. With Ning Fan's cultivation base in the Tao of formations, he was able to identify the number of formation eyes in just a short while. The 108 formation eyes could barely be considered a nascent soul realm formation. Moreover, each of the formation eyes was not filled with celestial jades or celestial ores, but with sense beads. This was a nascent realm formation that was set up with spiritual will as the driving force. Ghostly cultivators below the nascent soul realm could be killed with ease. Ning Fan's eyes fell on the 108 formation eyes with a hint of passion. 108 golden core prayer beads were actually used to set up a formation. It was truly a reckless waste of God's resources. However, this was to be expected. To ghosts, the most valuable things were spirit herbs. As for the sense beads, they could obtain them just by killing one of their companions. Other than forging treasures and setting up formations, they really didn't have much use for them. After all, they couldn't live, so they couldn't devour. The tragic ghost, who had just died, slowly formed a dazzling prayer bead next to his exploded soul. Immediately, a female ghost with a waist like a water snake appeared beside the sense bead in a flash of green light. She opened her hand and took the sense bead away. At the same time, she stared at Ning Fan with a sneer. Yo, isn't this the new medical officer, Zhou Ming? Why? Are you here to rob the vault and die? Ning Fan's eyes turned cold the moment the female ghost appeared. A late gold core female ghost. She must be the elder who was guarding the vault. Zhou Ming wouldn't dare to rob the vault. However, as a medical officer, I lack herbs to concoct pills, so I came to the vault to collect them. According to the rules of Green Clan, a medical officer can collect 10 stalks of century-old spirit herbs every month to concoct pills. At the same time, I have to submit at least 1 second revolution pill to the clan every month. Ning Fan's expression remained unchanged. He cupped his fists slightly. His calmness made the late gold core female ghost look at him with a whole new level of respect. The sneer on her face slowly disappeared and she stared at Ning Fan meaningfully. You know how to concoct pills. Which revolution pill? May I know how to address elder? Ning Fan didn't answer her question but asked with a faint smile. Hee hee, early gold core brat, those who dared to ask my name are all dead. Fine, I will spare you this time since you are a pill master. Listen carefully, this elder's name is Chu Han. The elder named Chu Han actually answered Ning Fan's question. This surprised the experts who were hiding in the dark. After all, they had never seen Elder Chu Han treating an early gold core ghost in such a friendly manner. But it was no wonder. After all, there were only a few ghosts who knew how to concoct pills. Most of the ghosts knew how to concoct pills when they were alive, but after they died, they would usually lose most of their memories. Only a few of them could still remember how to concoct pills. Yesterday, Ning Fan's performance in the tribe was average, so he couldn't enter the eyes of the elders. But if he knew how to concoct pills, his status would be much higher. Perhaps he would be valued even more than an intermediate gold core elder. Chu Han's eyes swept across Ning Fan. She was curious why a mere early gold core cultivator like him could be so calm in front of her. So it's Elder Chu Han. My name is Zhou Ming, a second revolution pill master. Ning Fan replied indifferently. He wouldn't publicize his fourth revolution pill concoction technique because it would instantly attract the attention of countless experts, making it hard for him to act in the dark. Really? Only second revolution? Elder Chu Han's eyes revealed an obvious disappointment. Her eyes turned cold again. Although there weren't many second revolution pill masters, they weren't scarce. Second revolution pill masters had almost no effect on gold core ghosts. Chu Chen, bring him in to choose the herbs. He is only allowed to pick 100 years old herb, 500 years old herb and 1,000 years old herb. You know the consequences if you lose even one. Chu Han's words were cold and filled with killing intent. She shook her body and disappeared without a trace. She didn't want to talk to Ning Fan anymore. All of a sudden, an old man who was dressed like a fisherman slowly revealed himself while holding a formation plate. He chuckled at Ning Fan. This old man is Chu Chen. Greetings, Master Zhou. This elderly fisherman seemed to only have an early gold core realm cultivation base. The way he addressed Ning Fan was even more respectful and carried a hint of flattery. However, as soon as he appeared, Ning Fan could feel a trace of coldness flashing across his back. His eyes did not move, but a trace of instinctive fear rose in his heart. Strange. Even if he was facing a late gold core expert, no one could give Ning Fan such a sense of crisis. This old man isn't simple. Ning Fan's eyes swept across the old man as if nothing had happened. Finally, he found some clues from the old man's qi. Nascent soul qi, this old man was a half-step nascent soul expert. A half-step nascent soul expert would at least be a great elder of a ghost clan. Ning Fan was afraid that this old man was the great elder of a ghost clan. Ning Fan's heart sank. This old man probably had the same purpose as him, to disguise himself and sneak into Green Clan. Since he was guarding the vault, his target was naturally the spiritual herbs. Junior Zhou Ming greets Senior Chu. I'll have to trouble Senior to lead the way and bring me to get the spiritual herbs. Hundreds of thoughts flashed across his mind, but he didn't show it on his face. He cupped his hands at the old man and smiled, then followed him into the vault. The old man seemed to be very talkative. He seemed to have a wide range of knowledge and experience, but he was trying to find out Ning Fan's background by beating around the bush. Ning Fan answered the old man's questions perfunctorily. With his experience as an immortal emperor, it was impossible for him to get any information out of the old man. Even if Ning Fan didn't say anything, the fact that he could answer the old man's question had already made the old man frown. This old man is the great elder of Purple Clan. When I was alive, I was unstoppable in Rain Immortal World. After my death, I painstakingly cultivated for 1,000 years to gain such knowledge. This little guy's bone age seems to be no more than 17 years old, but he was able to answer my question. He's a good schemer. He could tell that I wanted to find out his background, so he tried to change the topic. But he didn't know that his answer to my question had already exposed a lot of problems. This kid must have hidden something. I'm afraid that the reason why he came to Green Clan is for the vault. It coincides with my purpose. However, this little guy won't be able to snatch away the things that I want. Ning Fan and I had our own thoughts and gradually stopped talking. After Ning Fan stepped into the vault, he answered the old man perfunctorily while secretly observing the layout of the formation in the vault. The vault was divided into 4 floors. The first floor had the weakest defense. As long as Ning Fan was careful and didn't expose his trump card, he would be able to steal everything from the first floor. Unfortunately, the first floor only contains century-old spiritual herbs. The second floor contains sense beads and some magical treasures of ghost cultivators. The third floor contains century-old and above spiritual herbs. The fourth floor contained century-old spiritual herbs. Ning Fan was secretly delighted. It seemed like the gold core sense beads weren't the most important thing in Green Clan. The defense of the second floor hadn't reached the nascent realm yet. Ning Fan was confident that he could destroy the Grand Formation and seize all the sense beads with his Separation Slayer. Of course, he couldn't do that now. Ning Fan could feel that countless experts guarding the vault had locked their spirit sense on him. Once he made any strange move, they would immediately activate the power of the formation and burn him to ashes. I'll sneak in and steal the herbs some other day. The century-old spiritual herbs are all in the first floor. Master Zhou, feel free to choose. The old man smiled and continued to observe Ning Fan. Ning Fan's eyes swept across the century-old spiritual herbs in the room. Each of the spiritual herbs was sealed on the wooden shelves by the power of the formation. Not only could it prevent the thief from stealing the herbs, it could also prevent the medicinal energy from dispersing. Ning Fan was surprised when he saw the spiritual herbs. There were many extinct spiritual herbs in Rain Immortal World, but he could find them in Demon Sinister Forest. For example, there were 2 missing herbs for the Rising Spirit Pill and 1 missing main herb for the Consolidating Spirit Pill. The Rising Spirit Pill was useless to Ning Fan, but the Consolidating Spirit Pill was a must for him to break through to the peak of Harmonious Spirit Realm. Due to the scarcity of the Consolidating Spirit Pill in the outside world, the price of the Consolidating Spirit Pill had already reached a sky-high price. At first, Ning Fan wasn't interested in the century-old spiritual herbs. But now, an idea emerged in his mind when he saw the mountains of century-old spiritual herbs. He would steal all the century-old spiritual herbs to concoct a large number of rising spirit pills and consolidating spirit pills. Not only would he use them, but he would also leave them for the 3 black demon guards. In less than 10 years, Ning Fan was confident that he could cultivate the 3 black demon monarchs to the harmonious spirit realm. 1,400 harmonious spirit experts. Even if Ning Fan didn't have a nascent soul cultivation base, it wouldn't be difficult for him to sweep the entire Extreme Yin Gate. He collected his thoughts, and without batting an eyelid, casually took 10 ordinary spirit herbs, bid farewell, and left. He didn't take the herbs for the Consolidating Spirit Pill to avoid suspicion. After Ning Fan left, the old man reported the process of Ning Fan taking the herbs to Elder Chu Han. Century-old Li River Grass, century-old Slanting Valley, century-old Lu Fragrance. These are the herbs needed to concoct the Second Revolution Spirit Recovery Pill. Chu Chen, you can leave now. I will remind you for the last time. Don't have any ideas about the vault. Chu Han sat cross-legged with her eyes closed. She wasn't interested in Ning Fan, who was a Second Revolution Dan Master. Hee. Chu Chen is only an early gold core expert. How would I dare to court death in the vault? If I had the cultivation of a late gold core elder, I would be more than willing to do something. The old man chuckled and left. But when he left the room, he looked at the direction where Ning Fan left with a trace of doubt. That kid's eyes stayed on the main ingredient of the Consolidating Spirit Pill for a few breaths. Consolidating Spirit Pill is something that only Harmonious Spirit Juniors need. It should be useless to gold core ghosts like us. How could he be tempted by the Consolidating Spirit Pill? That look of joy on his face wasn't fake. Could it be that Zhou Ming isn't a gold core ghost? If he isn't a gold core ghost, how could he enter the 3rd region? Unless he is a living person. Could he be the one who killed the Bone Sovereign's clone? Hee. If this kid is really the one who killed the Bone Sovereign's clone, this old man is willing to cooperate with him to eradicate the Green Clan. This old man was able to deduce so many things from Ning Fan's expression. Fortunately, this old man didn't have any ulterior motives towards Ning Fan. On the contrary, he had the intention to befriend Ning Fan. After all, Chu Chen was the great elder of the Purple Clan. The Purple Clan used to be the subordinates of Emperor Lan, Mei Chen. They weren't on the same side as the Bone Sovereign. Ning Fan killing the Bone Sovereign's clone had nothing to do with this old man. Naturally, he wouldn't expose Ning Fan to please the Bone Sovereign. Ning Fan didn't return to his house immediately. Instead, he took a stroll around the Green Clan during the day. In his heart, he had decided to treat the two female ghosts' injuries and remove the restriction on them. This way, he could rope them in to help him rob the vault. A lot of things were needed to treat the two female ghosts and remove the restriction. There were many shops in the Green Clan that were run by the experts themselves. Ning Fan only needed to spend some spiritual herbs to exchange for the items he needed. The third revolution pill, regaining sight pill, lacked 2 herbs. He could concoct 2 pills and put them into the empty eye sockets of the female ghosts to restore their sight. The third revolution pill, blood healing pill, lacked 1 herb. The wound caused by a high-grade magical treasure was extremely hard to heal. Only the blood healing pill could heal the wound. As for removing the restriction, he needed some poison. The higher the grade, the better. Ning Fan needed a large amount of poison. The stronger the poison, the better. In the memory of the immortal emperors, there was a method to fight poison with poison. It was specifically used to remove the restriction on one's body. If the poison was strong enough, it could even remove an unsolvable restriction like the sense restriction. Of course, the poison needed to remove the sense restriction must be extremely horrifying. At least, there wouldn't be any in the Rain Immortal world. After exchanging for the required herbs, Ning Fan returned to his house and began to concoct pills. This was the residence of the medical officer. It didn't lack earth fire and pill cauldron. It wasn't difficult for Ning Fan to concoct a third revolution pill with his current concoction technique and spirit sense. When the night fell, the pills were almost completed. Wisps of pill fragrance lingered outside the bamboo house. Outside the bamboo house, the white-robed female ghost and the red-robed female ghost arrived at the appointed time to monitor Ning Fan. However, as soon as they arrived outside the bamboo house, they were deeply captivated by the pill fragrance coming from the bamboo house. It smells so good. Could it be that Zhou Ming is concocting pills? Oh my god. He actually knows how to concoct pills. I just don't know what revolution pill he is concocting. It's so fragrant. It can't be a third revolution pill, right? If the white-robed female ghost had eyes, her eyes would be shooting out stars. How is that possible? That Zhou Ming is just a rascal with a low cultivation base. He only knows how to make girls happy. Even if he knows how to concoct pills, he can only concoct a second revolution pill. That's amazing. The red-robed female ghost curled her lips slightly, but her blood-red eyes were still looking at the bamboo house. A wisp of pill fragrance wafted out. The wound on her lower abdomen that would never heal began to grow flesh. Her expression was mocking, but her heart was extremely shocked. What kind of pill is that Zhou Ming concocting? Just a wisp of pill fragrance can actually make my wound show signs of healing. The sound of the lid of the cauldron was heard. The hearts of the 2 women rose to their throats at the same time. The pill was done. Don't you want to come in and see what kind of pill I have concocted? Chapter 68. Being invited into the house, the white-robed female ghost blushed while the red-robed female ghost spat in annoyance. What tricks does this Zhou Ming want to play this time? Although his tone was fierce, the red-robed female ghost did not feel a trace of hostility from his tone. Last night, Ning Fan's tone was easygoing, but there was a trace of pretentiousness in it. Tonight, however, Ning Fan's tone was like that of a friend. The red-robed female ghost was used to the fickleness of the world, so she was very sensitive to a person's tone. It seemed like Ning Fan would not harm her sisters tonight. If that was the case, there was no harm in going in to have a look. She also wanted to know what kind of pill Ning Fan concocted. If it could cure her injuries, then she would snatch it. On the other hand, the white-robed female ghost tiptoed as she was embarrassed to enter Ning Fan's house. Sister Hong Hong, let's not go in. I am afraid. The white-robed female ghost pulled the red-robed female ghost's sleeve and begged. What are you afraid of? He won't eat you. Wait, who asked you to tell him my name? The red-robed female ghost was annoyed. She gently knocked the white-robed female ghost's forehead and forcefully pulled her into the house. The house was still decorated by the medical officer Huang Xie. However, Ning Fan had tidied up the pills and bottles, which was completely different from Huang Xie's sloppy habits. In her heart, the red-robed female ghost had a higher opinion of Ning Fan. The tidiness of the house meant that Ning Fan was a meticulous person with a heart of stone. The more detailed a person was, the more they could see a person's character. The red-robed female ghost's eyes met Ning Fan's teasing eyes. She had a fiery temper, so she did not shy away from Ning Fan's teasing eyes. Instead, she gave Ning Fan an evil smile. However, when she smiled, more blood flowed out of her eyes. There was no beauty to it, only terror. Miss Hong Hong's smile is indeed different from the others. I have seen countless beauties, but it was rare for a smile to leave such a deep impression on me. Ning Fan was obviously teasing her, but there was no hint of disgust on his face. This made the red-robed female ghost unable to get angry even though she was teased by Ning Fan. After all, there was no man who would tease her normally. However, she still did not want him to call her name. There was no reason for it, it was just that he was unwilling. Don't call me Miss Hong Hong. Do I know you that well? Call me Ning Hong Hong. Your surname is Ning. Ning Fan was startled. This red-clothed female ghost was from the same family as him. What? Are you dissatisfied with my surname? Ning Hong Hong pointed her sharp and blood-red long fingernails at Ning Fan's with a hint of resentment. I wouldn't dare. I just think that Miss Hong Hong's name is very pleasant to the ear. Ning Hong Hong. It's better to be red than white. I think Miss Hong Hong must be a sentimental person. Ning Fan's praise made Ning Hong Hong extremely happy. Gradually, she found Ning Fan's more pleasing to her eyes. Ning Fan's eyes fell on the white-robed female ghost again. He found it slightly funny. This white-robed female ghost was really afraid of strangers. Could it be that she was a young lady who didn't go out of her boudoir when she was alive? However, the more he looked at the female ghost, the more he felt that he had seen her somewhere before. A strange sense of familiarity welled up in his heart. A female corpse. Ning Fan's heart shuddered. He finally understood why he instinctively felt less hostility when he saw the red-clothed and white-robed females. Not only did the two females' characters suit his taste, more importantly, the appearance of the white-robed female ghost was somewhat similar to the female corpse in the green coffin. Could she be the soul of the female corpse? No, it shouldn't have anything to do with the female corpse. The aura doesn't look like it. Ning Fan muttered in his heart, dispelling the absurd thought. He shook his head and asked Ning Hong Hong with a smile. Miss Hong Hong, you are just like your name. I wonder what is the name of this white-robed fairy? Her name is... The moment Ning Hong Hong opened her mouth, the white-robed female ghost covered her mouth and begged. Sister, don't tell him. All right, sister will never tell him. Your name is Mu Weiliang. Ning Hong Hong tried to hold back her laughter. Sister, you are the best. You mustn't tell him. The white-robed female ghost slightly trembled. After listening to the conversation between the two females, Ning Fan couldn't hold back his laughter anymore. Ever since he started cultivating the devil path, he hadn't laughed so easily. Mu Weiliang, a good name. Don't admire Chun Nuan, only admire Weiliang. I like this name. As soon as Ning Fan's voice faded, the white-robed female ghost immediately shrieked with her mouth wide open in disbelief. You! How do you know my name, stupid, dull, natural silliness? This girl was very interesting, silly, and adorable. Ning Hong Hong, Mu Weiliang. Ning Fan had never thought that these two females, who were closely related to his life, would meet each other in such a strange way. It was hard to describe fate. He still wanted to say something, but Ning Honghong couldn't wait any longer. She cut off Ning Fan's words and stared at the pill bottle in Ning Fan's hand, licking her lips lightly. "Zhou Ming, what revolution pill did you concoct?" At this moment, Ning Honghong was so close to Ning Fan. The medicinal fragrance was even thicker. The medicinal fragrance really had a miraculous healing effect on the wound on her lower abdomen. Could it be that this Zhou Ming was really concocting a third revolution pill? She took a deep breath and looked at Ning Fan's eyes with a hint of anticipation. No girl would be willing to have a scar on their body. Not to mention that the scar was a bloody hole that penetrated through her lower abdomen. Third revolution. Mu Weiliang exclaimed softly after hearing Ning Fan's words. Ning Honghong's blood-red eyes revealed a fiery light. She endured the heat and tried to speak in a calm tone. "What, medicinal effect? Blood healing pill, a third revolution pill. It specialized in healing body defects. It can be used for both the mortal body and the ghost body. This pill was specially concocted for you, Miss Honghong." Ning Fan shook his head and didn't know whether to laugh or cry. This Ning Honghong was too impatient. If he didn't say that the pill was for her, he was afraid that Ning Honghong would forcefully snatch the pill from him the next moment. There had never been a woman who had written the word "want" all over her face so straightforwardly. "Concocted for me? What do you mean?" Ning Honghong was slightly stunned and looked at Ning Fan in confusion. She originally wanted to snatch the pill, but it was no longer necessary now. Because Ning Fan had already thrown the pill into her palm. "And yours, Weiliang." Ning Fan patted his storage pouch and took out another bottle containing 2 regaining sight pills. He stood up, held Mu Weiliang's palm and placed it on her palm. Ning Fan didn't think that this action was inappropriate. He still unconsciously regarded Mu Weiliang as the female corpse in the green coffin, the woman who had a night of pleasure with him. However, this was Mu Weiliang's first time being held by a man. She was so embarrassed that she stuttered and couldn't speak. Her delicate body was trembling and she forgot to struggle free. Ning Fan let go of her hand at the right time. She then regained her composure. She was still slightly out of breath and said in a low voice. "Don't call my name directly, it's not good, okay, Weiliang." "And, thank you." The naive girl obviously didn't realize that she was still called Weiliang. Ning Fan didn't give any explanation after giving the 2 pills to them. Instead, he continued to take out bottles and jars from his storage pouch and placed them on the table. Each of them was a peerless poison that was priceless. At this moment, Ning Honghong couldn't hold back anymore. "I'm asking you, what do you mean by this? Also, what do you want to do by taking out these poisons? Poison us to death? Have you ever seen poison in front of the enemy? Besides, we aren't enemies. I'm going to cure your injuries and remove the seal on you too. You saved us to achieve your purpose of coming to Green Clan." Ning Honghong was straightforward. She had experienced the ups and downs of the world. She could feel that Ning Fan didn't seem to be lying. However, she and Ning Fan were neither relatives nor friends. It was impossible for Ning Fan to treat her so well for no reason. It was even more impossible for him to fall for her beauty. She and Mu Weiliang didn't have any beauty to speak of. If it wasn't for their relationship or beauty, then it must be for benefits. She was a straightforward person and didn't like to beat around the bush. Ning Fan understood Ning Honghong's character, so he didn't want to hide his purpose. "That's right. I'll help you two to get rid of your ghost slave identity. What do you think?" Ning Fan's smile wasn't fake. He believed that his good intention had been expressed enough. This Ning Honghong wouldn't reject him. "About this, it depends on what I'm going to help you with. If I will be implicated and killed by you after I get rid of my ghost slave identity, then I'd rather be a ghost slave. Ning Honghong's expression was serious. She wasn't a rash person. She had to be clear about everything. Don't worry. I just want to steal something from Green Clan. It won't cause any big trouble. I just need the two of you to be magnanimous and let me travel at night. Even if I fail and die, I won't implicate you too. Ning Fan explained. It's just letting you travel at night. Even if you commit a crime, our punishment won't be too heavy. Alright, I'll help you with this small favor. Next, help me treat my injury. My lower abdomen has been suffering from tearing pain day and night. I can't wait to recover. Ning Honghong heaved a sigh of relief. She didn't ask what Ning Fan wanted to steal. Everyone had their own secrets. It was basic etiquette not to probe. Would Ning Fan tell her if she asked? This Ning Fan was just an early gold core cultivator. He shouldn't have committed any big crime. Ning Honghong admired Ning Fan's concoction skills, but she still ignored Ning Fan's cultivation base. She always thought that she could eliminate Ning Fan's with just a raise of her hand. At this moment, she could not wait to heal the injuries on her body. Mu Weiliang, who was beside her, was also eager to recover her eyes. Seeing that the deal was settled, Ning Fan didn't say anything else. He turned around and flicked his sleeve. A cold wind blew past, smoothing the wrinkles on the bed. The dust was blown away. Then, he turned back and smiled at the two girls. Alright, I'll treat your injuries now. Weiliang only needs to lie down. As for Honghong, take off your clothes. Don't worry, I won't peek. What? You want me to take off my clothes? Ning Honghong felt like a fly was stuck in her throat. She was very reluctant. But it was understandable. Mu Weiliang's injury was on her eyes while her injury was on her lower abdomen. In that damned, intimate place. Sister Honghong, don't worry. Zhou Ming said that he won't peek. Quickly take off your clothes. Mu Weiliang smiled innocently but spoke for Ning Fan. This made Ning Honghong curse in her heart. Won't peek. How can I treat my injury if I don't peek? Only a silly girl like you would believe such words to trick a child. Forget it. I don't have much charm anyway. It doesn't matter if he peeks at me. Ning Honghong gently gritted her teeth and began to take off her red dress. Her white and tender body was exposed. It was like the bright moonlight in the night sky. Chapter 70. Ning Fan and Chu Chen entered the second area. The jade shelves in front of them were filled with golden sense beads and various kinds of ghost magical treasures. Ning Fan's eyes fell on the sense beads. His eyes were burning with passion. If he could refine all of these gold core sense beads, when his eyes fell on a few ghost magical treasures, he was slightly stunned. There were hundreds of magical treasures here, but some of them had spirituality that surpassed the rest. Magical treasures with spirit. Without hesitation, he began to collect the sense beads and the magical treasures with spirit magical treasures. Chu Chen, who was dressed like a fisherman, didn't show any desire for the sense beads. Let's go to the third floor to collect spiritual herbs. Why waste time on these sense beads? As the great elder of Purple Clan, there were hundreds of sense beads in the clan, but they were useless to him. The only thing he needed was a large amount of spiritual herbs. He had already decided to refine the spiritual herbs to break through to the nascent soul realm and advance to the fourth area. Chu Chen didn't expect that these sense beads were good for a living person to enhance their spirit sense. After entering the third floor, Chu Chen still wanted to rely on Ning Fan's Separation Slayer sword to break the Grand Formation. Naturally, he wouldn't be calculative with Ning Fan here. Although they were going to split the treasury equally, he didn't want to share these sense beads with Ning Fan. Ning Fan didn't comment on Chu Chen's words. After collecting hundreds of sense beads, he looked at the passage of the third floor. His eyes flickered. The dark bird Bone King hadn't caught up yet, so he could continue to steal spiritual herbs. 10 breaths later, the third layer of defense was burned away by Ning Fan's sword. 100 breaths later, the fourth layer of defense was also burned away by Ning Fan's sword. Ning Fan and Chu Chen's actions were very fast. Someone might have just reported to the great elder of Green Clan that the treasury was robbed. The fourth floor was a warehouse that was shrouded in an icy aura. It was extremely cold. There were spiritual herbs that were at least 1,000 years old. There were even some 2,000 and 3,000 years old spiritual herbs. Almost at the same time, Ning Fan and Chu Chen's eyes moved. They patted their storage pouches and began to collect the spiritual herbs like crazy. The amount of spiritual herbs in Green Clan was astonishing. Both of them didn't care about the type and age of the herbs. They just collected the herbs like lightning. There were only a few rare spiritual herbs that were extremely important for Chu Chen to break through to the nascent soul realm. That was why Chu Chen asked for them. Young friend, this jade elimination jadeite is extremely important to me. Are you willing to part with it and give it to me? Little friend, can you give this 2,000-year-old woodwind grass to me? Little friend, this blood jade orchid. Chu Chen's tone did not contain the slightest hint of threat. Ning Fan's separation slayer gave him a great sense of crisis, but he could faintly feel that Ning Fan's hidden strength. Once his strength was unleashed, it would be a great threat to him. Therefore, as the great elder of the Purple Clan, his tone was extremely polite to a mere late harmonious spirit junior. If the people of the Purple Clan were to see Chu Chen, who had always been hot-tempered, talking to someone in such a soft voice, they would definitely be shocked. Sure, take it. Regarding the type of spiritual herbs, Ning Fan didn't have much choice. In other words, with his current cultivation base, he didn't need fourth revolution pills yet. Thus, he wasn't in a hurry. There was no need to quarrel with the old man over such a trivial matter. In the Green Clan's vault, Ning Fan had once again gathered all the herbs needed for the nascent formation pill. Although he was still missing 1 or 2 herbs, he didn't lack too much. After collecting all the spiritual herbs, there were still a few decent quality magical treasures in the 4th floor of the vault. 5 peak high-grade magical treasures and 2 supreme-grade magical treasures. The 5 peak high-grade magical treasures were golden, green, red, yellow and blue flying swords. They seemed to be a set of flying swords. When the 5 swords were unleashed at the same time, its power was comparable to a supreme-grade magical treasure. As for the other 2 supreme-grade artifacts, one of them was a small pure golden bell known as the Eastern Ocean Bell, and the other was a blood-colored skull that seemed to be refined from the skull of a powerful ghost, known as the ghost-suppressing puppet. Among them, the ghost-suppressing puppet was obviously of a higher quality and more powerful than the Eastern Ocean Bell. As soon as he saw this treasure, Chu Chen revealed a rare look that was even more fervent than when he first saw the 1,000-year-old spiritual herbs. On the contrary, Ning Fan's eyes swept across the 5 colored flying swords and was slightly surprised. Then, his eyes fell on the Eastern Ocean Bell. He seemed to have noticed something. A trace of astonishment could be seen in his eyes. I want the Eastern Ocean Bell. I want the ghost-suppressing puppet. Both of them spoke at the same time. When they realized that they had no conflict of interest, Chu Chen laughed while Ning Fan's eyes relaxed. All right, little friend will take the Eastern Ocean Bell and I will take the ghost-suppressing puppet. As for the 5 flying swords, I have no use for them. I will also give them to you. Chu Chen wasn't being generous. The ghost-suppressing puppet actually had a great origin. It was refined from the skull of a spirit-severing ghost. If he had this item, he would have a chance to advance to the spirit-severing realm. Of course, this chance was only effective for ghosts. It was useless for Ning Fan. This item was much more precious than the Eastern Ocean Bell. Chu Chen gave the 5 flying swords to Ning Fan. The two of them divided the treasures equally. Ning Fan naturally wouldn't refuse the elder's good intention. He easily destroyed the 5 elemental flying swords and the defensive formation of the Eastern Ocean Bell and took the 2 treasures. On the other hand, Chu Qin couldn't break the defensive formation of the ghost-suppressing puppet after a few twists and turns. He smiled helplessly and looked at Ning Fan with embarrassment. "Little friend, can you help me break this formation?" The dignified great elder of the Purple Clan was begging a harmonious spirit junior. However, Chu Qin didn't feel ashamed at all. Ning Fan had the strength to make him beg. "Sure." Ning Fan waved his separation slayer and helped Chu Qin to break the formation of the ghost-suppressing puppet. Whether it was the 5 elemental flying swords or the Eastern Ocean Bell, Ning Fan couldn't control them with his current magical power. However, what Ning Fan cared about wasn't the Eastern Ocean Bell itself, but the ancient inscriptions carved on the small bell. According to the memories of the ancient Chaos Great Emperor, the inscriptions seemed to be some kind of demon language, but even the ancient Chaos Great Emperor couldn't recognize most of them. Although he didn't know the meaning of the ancient inscriptions, Ning Fan could faintly feel that the value of these inscriptions was far above a supreme-grade magical treasure. Even if the inscriptions were useless, Ning Fan didn't feel that he was at a disadvantage. After all, the ghost-suppressing puppet was priceless to ghosts, but it was almost useless to him. "Ha, this is great. Little friend's personality is to my liking. Why don't you come with me to the Purple Clan?" Chu Qin held the blood ghost puppet in his hands, as if he couldn't bear to part with it. "Thank you for your kindness, great elder, but this junior still prefers to be alone." Ning Fan cupped his fists at Chu Qin and left in a flash. At the same time, the ground outside the vault shook violently. The white skeleton giant stomped on the ground, causing the entire Green Clan to crack and sink 3 feet into the ground. A 300 meters tall giant was furious. He could sense that the human who killed his incarnation was hiding in the Green Clan, but he couldn't find him no matter how hard he tried. His anger was vented on the ground. The houses and bamboo forests in his path were all trampled and destroyed by him. As soon as Ning Fan left the vault, he immediately felt an extremely powerful spirit sense sweeping across his body. However, he remained calm and immediately used the power of his incarnation to conceal his yang qi, not revealing his identity. Since he had achieved his goal, there was no need for him to be entangled with the Bone Sovereign. The chaos in the Green Clan was the best time for him to fish in troubled waters and leave the clan. He believed that no one would notice him. He went straight back to the bamboo house. There were countless ghosts with evil intentions in the Green Clan. He wasn't one of them. In the night sky, the angry roar of the Bone Sovereign's incarnation could be heard. It made the experts of the Green Clan tremble with fear, but none of them dared to stop the Bone Sovereign. "Human, get the hell out here." Outside the bamboo house, Ning Fan pondered and decided to bid farewell to the 2 girls. However, when he returned to the bamboo house, he found that the 2 girls were nowhere to be found. It was impossible for the 2 girls to sleep soundly when the Bone Sovereign caused such a huge commotion. He was afraid that the 2 girls had already escaped from the Green Clan when they woke up. After all, they weren't injured or enslaved. There was no need for them to stay in the Green Clan anymore. However, Ning Fan couldn't help but feel a little disappointed. Didn't the 2 girls wait for his return when they escaped? Forget it. It's just a chance meeting. He shook his head and left the Green Clan stealthily. However, when the escaping light flew out of the Green Clan's territory and flew past the Green Ghost River, it stopped abruptly. What he saw was 2 graceful girls, one white and the other red, standing by the riverside as if they were waiting for something. If they weren't Mu Weiliang and Ning Honghong, who else could they be? "Why are you 2 here?" Ning Fan descended and smiled faintly. "Waiting for you. Initially, I wanted to escape during the chaos, but Sister Weiliang wouldn't leave no matter what. She insisted on waiting for you. She said that you would leave the Green Clan after you finished stealing and settling your matters." It seems like Sister Whaleyang's guess is right. Why? Do you want to go with me? Alright. I've stolen a lot of things and I need a place for seclusion. Both of you, do me a favor and protect me. Che, dream on. Ning Honghong raised her head and didn't refuse. As for Mu Whaleyang, she smiled shyly when she saw that Ning Fan wanted to go with them. Alright, alright. I'll protect you. 3 rays of light gradually disappeared into the night sky. When the sun rose, Bone Emperor searched the entire Green Clan but couldn't find the whereabouts of the human. He was furious and made a decision after making a fuss. Humph. Since my clone can't find you, I'll send my true self here. As long as you still have my bone, even if my spirit sense isn't in it, I can still use the bone searching technique to find your whereabouts. The furious Bone Emperor left the 3rd region and returned to the 7th region. No one dared to stop him. After Bone Emperor left, the great elder of Green Clan, Qinglengshan, heaved a sigh of relief. However, before he could heave a sigh of relief, he immediately discovered something even worse. Impossible. How could the spiritual herbs in the vault be looted? Who did it? In the clan hall, Qinglengshan was furious, glaring at the 5 gold core experts. Including Chu Han, they were the ones who attacked the vault during the chaos. He already knew that Chu Han and the others had ulterior motives towards the vault. However, he never thought that Chu Han and the others had the ability to loot the vault. The nascent realm grand formation wasn't something that Chu Han and the others could break in a short time. Who did it? Qinglengshan was so angry that his injury was aggravated. The pain made him frown like an angry lion. Reporting to the great elder, it's Zhou Ming and Chu Chen. Chu Han gritted her teeth and told the truth. Chu Chen. Zhou Ming. The great elder searched hard in his mind, but he had no impression at all. He didn't remember any peak Jindan stage expert called Chu Chen or Zhou Ming. Reporting to the great elder, that Zhou Ming is a new medical officer of the tribe. He's a human. A Golden Core Realm Master who committed the crime added. What? Human? Could it be? Qinglengshan's eyes were filled with anger. A mouthful of blood spurted out from his mouth. He finally understood why Bone Emperor would be so furious and come to Green Clan. It turned out that his Green Clan had lured the wolf who offended Bone Emperor here. How could he be so stupid? How could he not be discovered when a human entered Green Clan? If he could discover Zhou Ming's hidden identity earlier, not only would he not provoke Bone Emperor, he would also have made a great contribution. A great merit had passed by him just like that, and he even caused the Green Clan to lose all the spiritual herbs they had stored. Chu Chen, this person is a ghost. He can change his appearance and name to make it hard to track him. Ignore him. Investigate Zhou Ming. I only want Zhou Ming. As long as we find this person, not only can we please Bone Emperor, we can also get back the stolen spiritual herbs. Pass down the order of the Great Elder of Green Clan. Use the Immortal Execution Order on Zhou Ming in the 3rd Formation Zone. How dare he plot against my Green Clan? I want him to pay the price. What? Immortal Execution Order. In the clan hall, several late Gold Core experts seemed to have heard something horrifying. Their faces were filled with shock and their bodies trembled. The Immortal Execution Order was a divine item used by the ancient heavenly court to execute the traitor immortals and gods. As long as the order was refined and branded with a trace of the aura of the person killed, the person would die for sure. Although the Immortal Execution Order that fell into Qinglengshan's hand was only a broken item, no one below the nascent soul realm could resist the might of the Immortal Execution Order. Wasn't it too wasteful to use such a heaven-defying item just for a mere Zhou Ming? After all, a token could only be used once. It seemed like Qinglengshan was really aggrieved and angry this time. He was really determined to kill Zhou Ming. Chapter 71. The reason why he came to this bamboo forest was to go into seclusion to refine the sense bead and break through to the late gold core realm. This quiet bamboo forest was suitable for setting up a nascent realm grand formation, winding path to seclusion. Last time, Ning Fan used hundreds of thousands of immortal jades to set up the void realm grand formation, mountain river reverse. Although the formation was successful, its power was far from being able to kill a void fragmentation expert. The reason was that although the formation eye was set up correctly and the formation diagram was complete, the immortal jades and immortal ores used to power the formation were too little. Using hundreds of thousands of immortal jades to set up a nascent realm grand formation was just right. That was why Ning Fan didn't plan to set up a void realm grand formation in the third region. He only spent 200,000 immortal jades to set up a nascent realm grand formation. It might not be as profound as a void realm grand formation, but because it was a complete formation, its power could even kill a late gold core expert. Bing Ling and Yu Ling hadn't fully recovered from their injuries and their combat strength wasn't high. It was better for them not to show themselves in such a dangerous place. As for the small sable, it used its medicinal power to break the seal and restore its peak gold core realm cultivation after wasting countless thousand years of spiritual herbs. He looked at Ning Honghong and Mu Weiliang with a hint of pleading and teasing. I'll have to trouble you two fairies to look after my life and death. Bah! You still won't tell me your real name at this juncture. Since you're a living person, you naturally can't be the ghost Zhou Ming. Ning Honghong lifted her chin. Oh, sorry. I'm a little too immersed in my role. My name is Ning Fan. Ning Fan winked at Mu Weiliang. Mu Weiliang couldn't help but feel shy. Then, he smiled and began to set up the formation in the bamboo forest. Ning Honghong's expression turned strange when she heard Ning Fan's name. Your surname is Ning. She finally understood why Ning Fan was surprised when he heard that her surname was Ning. However, compared to the shock that followed, this little bit of shock was nothing. You know how to set up a nascent realm formation. When Ning Fan selected 216 formation eyes in the bamboo forest, he moved his spirit sense and the formation diagram appeared on the ground. Ning Honghong's face was filled with surprise while Mu Weiliang's mouth was slightly open. This Ning Fan really knows too many things. Not only did he know how to refine third revolution pills, what was even more heaven-defying was that he knew how to set up a nascent soul grand array. His bone age was no more than 17 years old, but his cultivation base was already at the late harmonious spirit realm. His spirit sense had even reached the intermediate gold core realm. At the same time, he was also a third revolution Dan master and a nascent grade formation master. Ning Honghong gently breathed in. This was the first time she looked at Ning Fan's face to face. She vaguely felt that she was wrong to underestimate Ning Fan's before. I've been dead for a few thousand years. Back then, I was invincible in Wu country and established the Ning clan in Haining. I was so glorious that I thought I had seen all the elites in the world. I didn't expect there to be such a monstrous figure like you in this world, Ning Honghong praised softly. When her words fell into Ning Fan's ears, he almost made a mistake on the formation diagram and fell down. You said that you are the old ancestor of the Ning family in Hai Ning County of Wu country. Ning Fan's expression was extremely strange. Ning Honghong, whom he had taken advantage of, was actually the soul of his old ancestor. So what if I do? What? Do you dare to be dissatisfied? Ning Honghong stretched out her long nails and playfully threatened Ning Fan's. No, I'm not dissatisfied. I'm just a little surprised. Ning Fan lightly coughed and put away his strange expression. So what if Ning Honghong was the old ancestor of the Ning family? At first glance, this girl was a virgin. She certainly wouldn't have any children and certainly wouldn't be related to him by blood. Why am I thinking about this? He shook his head and continued to arrange the formation. While arranging the formation, he asked about Mu Weiliang's background. He didn't know what this girl's identity was in the past. Sister Whaleyang doesn't have any memory of her previous life. When I was patrolling in the Red Clan, I accidentally picked her up. Ning Honghong explained to Ning Fan. Mu Whaleyang's expression turned gloomy when she said that she didn't have any memory of her previous life. Is that so? It doesn't matter. The memory of one's previous life isn't necessarily a happy one. It's fine to forget it. Ning Fan gently patted Mu Whaleyang's beautiful hair to comfort her. Then, he continued to arrange the formation, which made the little girl blush again. It was a very strange feeling. Although it was the first time the three of them met each other, it felt as if they were very familiar with each other. Ning Fan asked himself that it would be difficult for him to encounter such a strange thing in his life. Entrusting each other's safety to a stranger in a strange place. Perhaps, they knew each other in their previous life. Ning Fan was able to detect the 7,000 formation eyes of the mountain and river reverse formation. Therefore, the winding path formation only had 216 formation eyes. Naturally, it wasn't a problem for Ning Fan. Ning Fan placed immortal jades and immortal ores at the positions of the formation eyes. With a sweep of his spirit sense, he connected the formation eyes one by one in just half an incense worth of time. The terrain was connected and the formation was completed. If other nascent realm formation masters were to see the speed of setting up the formation, they would surely be shocked. After the grand formation was completed, Ning Fan found a place with the strongest earth fire. He cut open the earth vein with his sword, drew out the earth fire and began to concoct pills. Ning Honghong and Mu Whaleyang were sitting leisurely, watching Ning Fan's skillful concoction technique with an amazed expression. Profound Dark Pill was a third revolution pill. When consumed together with the gold core sense bead, it could purify the evil and ghostly power of the sense bead. The 500 years worth of pills in the Green Clan's vault was more than enough to concoct hundreds of profound dark pills. The only problem was that Ning Fan could only concoct 100 third revolution pills at the same time. He was afraid that he would need a few more batches before he could concoct enough pills. 3 days had passed. Ning Fan had opened 12 batches of pills. Except for one that was destroyed, the other 11 batches were barely successful. A total of 1100 profound dark pills were concocted. It couldn't be helped. Even if Ning Fan had the concoction technique of an immortal emperor, he couldn't guarantee success every time he concocted a third revolution pill. The higher the grade of the pill, the lower the success rate. The pills had been concocted. All that was left was to refine the power of the sense bead. Ning Fan sat cross-legged and adjusted his magical power. After half a day, he finally recovered to his peak condition and began to refine the sense bead one by one. The mental power of the gold core sense bead was too strong. At this moment, Ning Fan was so focused that he couldn't even hear the sound of the wind outside. There were still 7 days left before the end of the sect assessment. The winding path leading formation was a nascent realm grand formation. It could be set up by borrowing the terrain of the bamboo forest. Compared to attacking the enemy, it was more important for protection and concealment. The twists and turns were hard to find. In the past few days, the experts of Green Clan had searched the bamboo forest several times, but they couldn't find Ning Fan and the others hiding here. Ning Honghong and Mu Whaleyang were praising the grand formation. On the other side, the great elder of Green Clan, Qing Lingshan, was as anxious as an ant on a hot pan. On the 4th day, the experts of Green Clan had searched thousands of miles of the 3rd region, but still couldn't find any trace of Ning Fan. Trash. A bunch of trash. You can't even find a single person. What's the use of keeping you? Qing Lingshan's late gold core aura swept across the entire clan. The experts in the hall felt a chill down their spine. Even the other late gold core elders had a change of expression. Great Elder, perhaps this person isn't in the 3rd region anymore. He's a living person. It's easy for him to enter the 4th region or return to the 2nd region. The 2nd Elder, Qing Hengxing, a burly man with a rough and cold demeanor, said. That makes sense. Qing Lingshan's expression changed. Then, his mouth curved into a sneer. Has the refinement of the immortal execution order been completed? Reporting to Great Elder, the refinement has reached the last step. But, are we really going to use this treasure to eliminate Emir Zhou Ming? This immortal execution order is something that our Green clan uses to deter the other clans. The third elder Qing Wuwei, a middle-aged man with a short beard, said with hesitation. Idiot. As long as we kill this man and gain the favor of the Bone Emperor, our Green clan will be able to advance to the nascent Soul Realm. It'll be a piece of cake for us to break through to the fourth region. Qing Lingshan harumphed coldly. He disdained the short-sightedness of the experts in the hall. In the land of Nine Yin, the 8th and 9th region no longer existed. The Bone Emperor of the 7th region was the king. Who would dare to attack Green Clan if they could please the king? It was funny that these ghosts didn't have enough vision. No wonder they couldn't become the Great Elder. The refinement of the immortal execution order is about to be completed. Can you collect a trace of Zhou Ming's qi? Qing Lingshan asked indifferently. Reporting to Great Elder, the collection of qi in the bamboo building of the medical center has been completed. The fourth elder Qing Yun, a handsome young master, reported respectfully. Very good. Set up the altar and prepare to kill this man. Qing Lingshan flicked his sleeve and led the experts of the clan to an ancient altar. All those years ago, I'd once used an immortal execution token to annihilate the Fang clan's peak Golden Core Realm Grand Elder, causing the Fang clan to decline. I never imagined that I'd actually use the immortal execution token once more to annihilate Emir Zhou Ming. He sneered. He couldn't wait any longer. However, he seemed to have thought of something and ordered. In addition, second elder, third elder, bring some people to the third region to search for Zhou Ming. If the immortal execution order is activated, this man will certainly die. There will be 4 great sword shadows in the place where he will be killed. If this man is still in the third region, you can take back the spiritual herbs. Of course, if anyone dares to keep the spiritual herbs for themselves, humph. I still have 2 immortal execution orders in my hand. Qing Lingshan swept his eyes across. No one dared to show any dissatisfaction. In the grand formation of the bamboo forest, Ning Fan continued to refine the power of the sense bead. His spirit sense was advancing from intermediate Gold Core Realm to late Gold Core Realm. In just 23 days, he had improved his spirit sense to such an extent. If this news were to spread back to your country, everyone would be shocked. Just a little bit more. It seems like there are still 100 sense beads left. Ning Fan smiled faintly. He had only refined 400 sense beads and he was about to break through to late Gold Core Realm. Soon, just a little bit more. I just need to break through this bottleneck. Ning Fan's eyes were like torches. He held his breath and concentrated, preparing to break through the spirit sense realm with all his might. However, at this moment, a sense of crisis spread throughout his body without any warning. His eyes were filled with anger and he spurted out a mouthful of blood. His spirit sense was scattered and he failed to break through. A force of backlash attacked his sea of consciousness, causing him to feel pain as if his spirit sense was being torn apart. He looked at his chest in shock. There was a bloody hole that appeared out of nowhere, but strangely, there wasn't a single drop of blood. Just when he was about to break through, an illusory sword shadow came out of nowhere and slashed his chest. There are still sword shadows. He stood up abruptly and waved his separation slayer palm. He turned around and blocked one of the illusory sword shadows, but the other sword shadow was hard to defend against. It pierced through Ning Fan's abdomen, leaving a bloody hole. Puff, Ning Fan's face turned pale. More and more sword shadows came from all directions, making Ning Fan tired of dealing with them. The 2 girls were originally guarding Ning Fan. Their beautiful faces turned pale when they saw Ning Fan's spirit sense failed at the critical moment and was slashed by thousands of swords. They recognized the origin of the sword shadows, which made them even more shocked. Immortal Execution Order. What did you do to offend the great elder of Green Clan? Why did he use this order to hunt you down? Ning Fan, let us help you. The two girls moved, wanting to help Ning Fan block the sword shadows, but the next moment, they were even more shocked. Dozens of illusory shadows of Green Clan were standing in the air above the sea of bamboo forest, attacking the grand formation with all their might. Don't worry about me. You two go and control the grand formation. Don't let them break it. Humph. Immortal Execution Order, Green Clan. Is it Green Clan that plotted against me? Ning Fan's eyes revealed a trace of ruthlessness. He raised his head and saw 4 illusory sword shadows outside the grand formation in the sky, locking him down from all directions. Countless sword shadows came from the 4 swords. He was shocked. These 4 swords were very famous even in the memory of ancient chaos. 4 immortal execution swords. The 4 sword shadows seemed to have existed since the ancient times, locking the vast sky. Even though they were just illusory shadows, they still emitted an aura of vicissitudes and destruction. The air was mixed with a faint smell of blood. That smell of blood was formed by the blood of countless immortals and gods. The so-called Immortal Execution Order could actually transform into 4 illusory shadows of swords, using endless sword chi to kill the person locked down by the order. If it was in ancient times, it wouldn't be 4 illusory shadows of swords that could kill immortals and gods, but the real 4 immortal execution swords. Outside the formation, the second elder Qing Hengxing and the third elder Qing Wuwei led dozens of Green Clan experts to surround the Sea of Bamboo. They followed the orders of the Great Elder and searched the third region. However, they never thought that Zhou Ming would be so daring as to stay in the third region after stealing the spiritual herbs. Ha! After the Immortal Execution Order kills this man, we will retrieve the spiritual herbs. It will be considered as a great contribution. Qing Hengxing sneered and attacked the nascent realm grand formation with greater effort. His physical body was extremely strong, like iron bones. Each of his punches and palms could cause cracks to appear on the grand formation, causing the ground to shake violently and raising gusts of violent wind. Although it recovered quickly, the immortal jades in the eye of the formation were being consumed rapidly. As soon as the immortal jades were used up, the formation would be broken. Before Qing Hengxing finished his sneer, 2 beautiful figures were holding the immortal jades given by Ning Fan, replenishing the immortal jades in the eye of the grand formation. One of them was a lady in red. Her eyes were filled with killing intent as she controlled the grand formation. In an instant, thousands of green lights flew out from the formation and turned into pieces of sharp bamboo leaves. Like dancing leaves, they swept towards the experts of Green Clan. The nascent realm grand formation had the effect of killing. Seeing that Zhou Ming still had companions controlling the grand formation, the 4 gold core experts were instantly killed by the formation light. The remaining experts also suffered different degrees of injuries. Even Qing Hengxing, who had a strong physical body, had a bloody wound on his chest. He roared in anger, but when his eyes fell on the peerless beauty of the 2 ladies, a trace of lustful smile appeared on his face. The 2 ladies controlling the grand formation had peerless beauty that he had never seen before in his life. Good, good, good. I didn't expect that Zhou Ming still has 2 beauties to protect him. However, he certainly won't be able to escape from the immortal execution. As for you 2 ladies, the grand formation will finally be broken. Hee, both of you look pretty good. After breaking the grand formation, I won't let you 2 go easily. Tonight, I will let you 2 regret it. Qing Hengxing had a late gold core cultivation base. He was a rare ghost cultivator who refined his body. His combat strength was astonishing. As long as the grand formation was broken, he alone could easily subdue the 2 ladies. As for the 2 ladies in the formation, their beautiful faces turned pale when they saw that the 2 elders of Green Clan were involved in the pursuit. Ning Honghong's attack with the Grand Formation seemed powerful, but it was a sneak attack. Now that the ghosts were on guard, it wouldn't be easy to hurt them again. Moreover, the attack just now had consumed 1/10 of the immortal jade of the Grand Formation. How many more times could such an attack be used? The eyes of the two ladies fell on Ning Fan. Their faces were filled with heartache and pity. At this moment, Ning Fan's body was riddled with thousands of bloody holes. His flesh was festering. They were afraid that he wouldn't be able to withstand the sword's shadow for long. What should we do? Mu Weiliang and Ning Honghong looked at each other. They could see a trace of heartache and despair in each other's eyes. However, at this moment, a trace of anger flashed in the eyes of Ning Fan, who had not a single piece of flesh on his body. It turned into the determination to kill the Green Clan. Green Clan. I will remember this. After I break the immortal execution sword shadow, I will go and annihilate Green Clan. His words carried the killing intent of an immortal emperor. When it fell into the ears of the experts of Green Clan, including Qing Hengxing, they felt a trace of fear. What level of killing intent was this? Even the Supreme Bone King did not have such a murderous aura. However, this fear only lasted for a moment before it was suppressed by Qing Hengxing and the others. They weren't newbies who had just made their debut. How could they be scared away by a killing intent? In the Grand Formation, Ning Fan's eyes were filled with determination. He took out the third Jade Royal Dan. The time since the last time he took the Dan was too short. This time, he would have to endure endless pain. But Ning Fan had no choice. The immortal execution sword Qi, even if it was just a phantom, gave him a life-threatening crisis. Die from the pain or be slashed to death by the sword. He took the Jade Royal Dan in one gulp. His flesh was destroyed countless times by the sword's shadow. The silver light in his bones was getting stronger and stronger. I am ancient chaos. Immortal execution sword shadow, do you dare to slash me? This time, he used the immortal emperor's prestige of the yin-yang locket. It made the dignified sword shadow hesitate for a moment. Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. He did something unbelievable. He opened his mouth and swallowed the countless sword shadows into his stomach. If I don't die, I will refine the immortal execution sword Qi. None of you will be able to escape. Chapter 72. After consuming the Jade Royal Dan, Ning Fan's body was able to withstand the attack of the sword Qi. He opened his mouth and the starlight sword shadow slashed wildly, scattering the sword Qi and swallowing the scattered immortal execution sword Qi into his abdomen. When the sword Qi entered his abdomen, his liver and intestines were broken and the pain was excruciating. However, the strange thing was that when the pain overlapped with the pain of the Jade Royal Dan, Ning Fan could no longer feel any pain. He was already numb to it. Two equal pain could offset each other. Ning Fan unexpectedly discovered this strange phenomenon. However, at this moment, he didn't have the mood to think about the reason behind it. The correct way to consume the Jade Royal Dan was to stop the pain with pain. He accidentally discovered it, but let's not talk about it now. Without the pain of the Jade Royal Dan and the danger of the sword destruction, Ning Fan sensed the sword Qi in his body and his eyes turned cold. With his current realm, he couldn't devour even a trace of the immortal execution sword Qi, which made him disappointed. However, these sword Qi contained a trace of psyche power. Just based on the psyche power alone, it was much stronger than the power of the rosary beads. His breakthrough to late gold core spirit sense had failed because of the attack from the Green Clan experts. The remaining 100 sense beads might not be enough to break through to late gold core spirit sense. However, if he devoured the sword Qi sense power, he was confident that he could break through to late gold core spirit sense again. He could sense that the Grand Formation was being besieged by the experts of Green Clan. Once the Grand Formation was broken, he would die and the two girls wouldn't be able to escape unscathed. He raised his head and looked at Qing Hengxing, who was laughing arrogantly outside the formation light. His eyes flickered with cold light as he spoke to the two girls. "Half an hour. Help me delay." The immortal execution sword Qi couldn't be devoured, but sense power could. He forcefully separated the sense power from the sword Qi and threw it into his sea of consciousness, merging it with his spirit sense. A mutation was slowly happening in his sea of consciousness. The power of his spirit sense slowly increased and rushed towards the bottleneck of late Gold Core realm. Outside the formation light, the attacks from the experts of Green Clan were getting fiercer and fiercer. Even the second elder, Qing Hengxing, gave up on breaking the formation with his body. He waved his palm and took out a small mountain magical treasure that was surrounded by black qi. High-grade magical treasure, extreme spiritual mountain. The might of this strike had the force of 10,000 caddies. Even a peak gold core expert wouldn't be able to withstand it. Extreme spirit mountain, smash it. Qing Hengxing sneered and blew out a mouthful of gold core qi. The small mountain instantly turned into a 1,000-meter-tall mountain and ruthlessly smashed onto the formation light. Every time it landed, the formation light would crack inch by inch, and thousands of immortal jades in the formation eye would be consumed. He licked his lips. In his opinion, the formation would lose its power in less than half an incense stick's time. "Third brother, as long as we can break this spell formation, you can take the spirit medicine back and report back to the Grand Elder. I'm going to stay here and have some fun with those two girls." He looked at Mu Weiliang and Ning Honghong with a lustful gaze, as if the two women were already his. "If you can get rid of your lecherous habits, your mentality will improve tremendously. Who knows, you might have already broken through to the original level." Third Elder Qing Wuwei's eyes flashed with a trace of disdain, but it was hidden very deeply. At the same time, his hands were changing spells, and countless eerie fireballs were smashed onto the formation. In his opinion, it was only a matter of time before the grand formation was broken. In the formation light, Mu Weiliang's mind was in a mess while Ning Honghong gritted her teeth and hurriedly replenished the immortal jades in the formation eye. Ning Fan gave them 400,000 immortal jades, and in just a short period of time, they had already spent 40 to 50,000 immortal jades. At this rate, they would not be able to hold on for more than an hour before the formation was breached. "Sister Weiliang, come and replenish the immortal jades. I need to send my spirit sense into the formation in order to activate the defense of the formation to its limit." As soon as Ning Honghong finished speaking, she immediately sat cross-legged and sent her spirit sense into the formation light. Mu Weiliang, on the other hand, was shocked by Ning Honghong's bold action. She gritted her teeth but did not stop her. The formation borrowed the power of the mountains and rivers for defense. If a cultivator's spirit sense entered the formation and controlled it, the cultivator would be able to use the terrain that the formation borrowed to exert its greatest power. However, this was an extremely risky action, because once the grand formation was broken, the cultivator's spirit sense would not be able to leave the formation in time, and he would be severely injured. However, Ning Honghong couldn't care less about the risk. She only hoped to delay Ning Fan for half an hour. Perhaps, after half an hour, he will have a way to break the siege of the experts of Green Clan. Ning Honghong comforted herself, but even she couldn't believe that Ning Fan would have a way to break the siege of Green Clan. As soon as her spirit sense entered the formation light, her face immediately turned pale. It was extremely difficult for her to control a nascent realm formation with her intermediate gold core spirit sense. Gradually, she felt a trace of spiritual connection with the terrain of the entire sea of bamboos. She constantly adjusted the terrain to strengthen the defense of the formation light. Outside the formation light, the experts of Green Clan could obviously feel that the power of the formation had increased. As for Qing Hengxing, he frowned as he realized that his extreme spiritual mountain could no longer break a crack on the formation light. Someone is controlling the formation with spirit sense. Humph. Is it her? What a reckless girl. Qing Hengxing's eyes fell upon the lady in red who was sitting cross-legged in the formation light. His eyes turned cold. He waved his right hand to keep the extreme spiritual mountain and took out a dark purple worn-out talisman. This talisman was faintly flickering with light. Apparently, it was extraordinary. When the expert's eyes fell upon the talisman, all of them turned pale with fright. It's the Heavenly Ghost Talisman. It's a talisman that contains the power of a nascent soul expert. Everyone's eyes were filled with fear and dread when they looked at Qing Hengxing. Unexpectedly, Qing Hengxing was willing to use such a precious talisman in order to break the grand formation. Qing Hengxing seemed to be enjoying the gazes of the crowd. He laughed and twirled the talisman between his fingers, injecting vast magical power into it. Suddenly, the Heavenly Ghost Talisman glowed with purple light and faint cries of ghosts and gods could be heard. Qing Hengxing performed a hand seal. The talisman was engulfed in black flames and turned into ashes. The talisman then turned into a 300 meters huge purple skeleton. It bit on the formation light and tore it apart. In just one move, a gap of 100 meters was torn open. At the same time, a miserable scream of a lady came out from the formation. The formation light was torn apart and Ning Honghong's spirit sense was also torn apart. Her red lips that were as tender as blood were now pale. However, she couldn't care less about the injury to her sea of consciousness. She hurriedly performed a hand seal and used her spirit sense to circulate the power of the terrain to repair the formation light. Although the formation light could be repaired, her spirit sense would still be injured. Qing Hengxing was slightly surprised when he saw this. He was surprised that the red-clothed female ghost could endure the pain even though her spirit sense was torn apart. One must know that even many men couldn't endure the pain. This girl must have been a heroine in her past life. However, when he thought about how he could press a proud and conceited girl on top of him and ravage her wantonly, the evil thoughts in Qing Hengxing's heart grew stronger. He revealed his white fangs and sneered. He continuously controlled the talisman and the heavenly ghost to attack the formation light. I, your father, want to see how many times you, little girl, can last. Tear it apart. He tyrannically controlled the heavenly ghost skeleton to tear apart the formation light. It wasn't just the grand formation that was being torn apart, it was also tearing apart Ning Honghong's spirit sense. Sister Honghong. Mu Weiliang's heart felt like it was being cut by a knife when she saw Ning Honghong's spirit sense getting injured again and again. She wanted to bear the pain for Ning Honghong but was pushed away by Ning Honghong. Silly sister, just hold on for a little longer. Her skin was pale and bloodless. It was even whiter than Mu Weiliang's unhealthy skin color. Her breathing was weak, but when she turned her head and saw that Ning Fan was unscathed, she felt relieved. Just hold on for a little longer, her smile was too forced. Qing Hengxing, who was outside the formation light, finally lost his patience when he saw Ning Honghong's stubbornness and perseverance. Heavenly Ghost Skeleton, explode. Qing Hengxing indifferently performed a hand seal. The skeleton that was formed by the talisman fire exploded in a split second and purple flames soared. In an instant, the purple flames spread out like splashing ink, drowning the 100-li sea of bamboo. The sea of flames evaporated and the formation light was burnt and reborn in an instant. The immortal jades were consumed rapidly. Ning Honghong's spirit sense felt like it was being burned by fire. Blood flowed out from her 7 orifices and she fell to the ground. The moment Ning Honghong fell to the ground, the power of the formation was greatly reduced. Everything within 100 li was drowned by the purple sea of flames. The bamboo forest was no more. Without the bamboo, there would be no formation. The grand formation was broken. The moment the grand formation was broken, the purple flames were guided by Qing Hengxing and engulfed Ning Fan, who was resisting the sword qi. Kill one first. Qing Hengxing's arrogant laughter came from the sky. In his point of view, it was already heaven-defying for Ning Fan to survive for so long under the attack of the immortal execution sword qi. If he was attacked by the purple flames that were comparable to the attack of a nascent soul realm cultivator, he would certainly die. Mu Weiliang held Ning Honghong in her arms. Tears fell from her eyes as she looked at Ning Honghong's haggard appearance. As for Ning Honghong, she bit her lips. Blood flowed down from the corner of her mouth and tears swayed in her eyes. She still didn't help Ning Fan to buy enough time for half an hour. Sister Weiliang, run quickly, she revealed a desperate smile. Facing dozens of gold core experts of Green Clan, there was no way for her to survive today. I won't go. Mu Weiliang looked at the descending experts of Green Clan and Qing Hengxing, who was approaching her with an obscene smile. Her heart was filled with fear. Ning Fan was drowned by the sea of flames and it was unknown whether he was dead or alive. As for Ning Honghong, who she had been with day and night, she was facing death. She tried her best to suppress the fear in her heart. She stood up and stood gracefully in the sea of flames. Her expression was cold as she looked at the approaching experts of Green Clan. Let them go and I will go with you, she said to Qing Hengxing faintly. She had already decided in her heart that once Ning Fan and Ning Honghong escaped, she would break her heart vein and die. She would never allow herself to be humiliated by this man. However, her thoughts seemed to be seen through by Qing Hengxing. He, you don't have the qualification to negotiate after falling into my hands. Qing Hengxing was extremely satisfied. Although he had lost a life-saving talisman, it seemed that not only he could complete the task of the Great Elder, but he could also capture two stunning girls. He unleashed his late gold core cultivation. With just a single impact, Mu Weiliang was knocked to the ground. He approached Mu Weiliang step by step. He smirked and reached out his palm to touch her. No. Mu Weiliang revealed a look of despair. At this moment, the purple sea of flames within 100 miles suddenly shook violently. The 4 immortal execution swords that were suspended in the sky were shattered at the same time. An extremely cold voice came from the sea of flames. Under this voice, the swords on the waists of the experts of Green Clan trembled slightly as if they were afraid of it. The swords were inanimate objects. How could they be afraid? What were they afraid of? Qing Hengxing retracted his palm and retreated without hesitation. At the place where he stood a moment ago, a starlight sword shadow with devil might that was enough to incinerate a gold core ghost slashed across. That was close. If he retreated a little slower, his palm that was about to touch Mu Weiliang would have been chopped off. Who dares to sneak an attack on me? He was both shocked and angry. He was shocked because the soul-burning power of the Separation Slayer sword was simply an undefendable nightmare for ghosts. He was angry because this was obviously Green Clan's internal affair. How could there be an ignorant expert who wanted to interfere? He didn't realize that the attacker was Ning Fan because in his impression, Ning Fan was already drowned in the purple flames and was already a dead man. In the sea of purple flames, there was a young man in white robe with a black cloak. His black hair was like a devil and his eyes were filled with soul-stirring sword light. He was obviously just a young man, but his face was cold and his eyes were ruthless. He was like a piece of ice that wouldn't melt for thousands of years, standing between heaven and earth. Zhou Ming, it's you. How is this possible? You should have been killed by the immortal execution order and died in the sea of flames. Qing Hengxing took a few steps back. His heart and soul were greatly shaken. At this moment, this young man was only a late harmonious spirit expert, but he could feel an unstoppable pressure from the young man's eyes. It was as if he was facing a heaven emperor. It was like a raging sea, making him feel anxious. That gaze wasn't the murderous intent of an immortal emperor, but a sharpness that could annihilate everything, like a sword light that could slay all fiend gods. Waves of soul fluctuations set off huge waves in everyone's sea of consciousness. Some even showed signs of cracking. It was as if there were countless thunderbolts exploding in their bodies. Not only Qing Hengxing, but none of the dozens of Green Clan experts dared to look directly at the young man's eyes. He is Zhou Ming. Impossible. I have seen that Zhou Ming before. On the day he joined the clan, it took him a lot of effort to kill Huang Xia in the medical hall. A man with a wretched face was horrified. It was because he knew that Zhou Ming was weak that he volunteered to join the mission of killing Zhou Ming from the Great Elder. But before he could finish his words, his body was cut into two without any warning. A dignified early gold core expert was beheaded in such an inexplicable way. The same situation happened in an instant. 21 early gold core experts were either cut into two at the waist or slashed into meat paste by the invisible sword light. Only 14 intermediate gold core experts and 2 late gold core experts, including Qing Hengxing, didn't die mysteriously. But each and every one of them was horrified, looking at the young man in fear. Without a doubt, the one who killed so many gold core experts with such a strange method must be that young man. What have you done? Qing Hengxing almost roared out to cover the panic in his heart. But the young man naturally wouldn't give him an answer. With a cold voice, his late gold core divine sense swept out. Chapter 73. Ning Honghong heaved a sigh of relief when she saw the familiar figure walking out of the sea of fire. As for Mu Weiliang, she almost cried tears of joy when she saw that Ning Fan was safe and sound. As for Ning Fan's ice-cold qi, it made the two girls' hearts tremble. However, before they could ask anything, Ning Fan had already stepped on the ground. 3 marks immortal cloud appeared on the ground, carrying the two girls and gently floated up to the sky, following behind him. Honghong, take a rest on the cloud. Weiliang, help me pick up their sense beads. His tone was calm, but there was an invincible qi that was ready to burst out. In Ning Fan's eyes, the moment he appeared, all the ghosts in front of him would die for sure. As soon as his voice faded, he shook the cauldron ring. Then, the little sable that hadn't shown itself for a long time fell into his arms and lazily shook its head. The little sable had already recovered her peak gold core cultivation. Her overbearing aura swept across thousands of miles of the third region. Under the influence of her demonic qi, the strength of the ghosts began to be suppressed to varying degrees. Qing Hengxing and the other ghosts who were closest to the little sable were even more frightened by the demonic qi. Mei Ji has recovered her peak gold core cultivation. Not good, run now. None of the ghosts in the third region can withstand a single blow from her. Almost in the blink of an eye, the 16 ghosts and 16 streaks of light fled in different directions. If Mei Chen was an early gold core expert, they would still dare to chase after her, but now, they would die if they didn't escape. In their opinion, no matter how powerful Mei Chen was, she could only chase after them one by one. They would definitely be able to escape alive if they split up. Those who were killed could only blame it on their bad luck. Fellow Taoists died, not me. Who would care about who? However, Ning Fan didn't have the intention to let Mei Chen take action, because it wasn't necessary. You don't have to take action, I'm too lazy to take action. Under Mei Chen's suppression, the strength of each of the ghosts was sealed. Even Mu Weiliang and Ning Honghong felt their magical power stagnant. They couldn't understand why Ning Fan would travel with the dignified demon sovereign. As for the dignified demon sovereign Mei Chen, she was lying in Ning Fan's embrace like a demonic pet. Under the suppression of Mei Chen's demonic qi, the intermediate gold core ghost's magical power and spirit sense were suppressed to peak harmonious spirit, a whole realm lower. As for Qing Hengxing and Qing Wuwei, they were both late gold core and early gold core respectively. But now, their spirit sense was suppressed to early gold core. Their previous arrogant aura was gone. The gold core ghosts tried their best to escape. In just a blink of an eye, they were already more than 10 li away. However, Ning Fan's eyes flickered with a cold light. In his sea of consciousness, there was a clanging sound of a sword. The speed of his spirit sense was even faster. Fan of the spirit sense of, and the speed. The spirit sense of the area. Of. 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 Ning of. In just an instant, apart from Qing Hengxing, all the other ghosts that were swept by Ning Fan's spirit sense let out a blood-curdling screech. It was as if they were slashed by the sword Qi. Each of their ghost bodies was slashed and they died instantly. Their blood splashed on the ground. Fan of. Even if he of spirit, even if he was of blood. Qing as he was, he of Xing was of. Impossible. What did he do? Why am I seriously injured? Why were so many gold core experts killed in a single encounter? Ning Fan would never answer Qing Hengxing's question. He brought the small sable and the two girls to the front of Qing Hengxing. His expression was still cold. Aren't you going to escape? His tone was indifferent. But in Qing Hengxing's ears, it was as painful as being pierced by a sword. At this moment, Ning Fan's image became more and more mysterious and terrifying in Qing Hengxing's eyes. His whole body was trembling. Under Ning Fan's stare, he was like a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. What did you do? No one can kill so many experts without being noticed. He was bluffing, but it showed the fear in his heart. You don't need to know. Ning Fan's words were cold. Separation Slayer pierced towards Qing Hengxing's chest with the power of burning. I will die. I will really die. Coughing out a mouthful of black blood, Qing Hengxing's expression was filled with a trace of resentment. He was a dignified late gold core expert. Was he going to die in the hands of a harmonious spirit junior? No. Since he was going to die either way, he might as well fight with his life on the line. He used his last trace of magical power to cast a spell. Before the Separation Slayer could burn his body, his soul escaped from his body and rushed towards Ning Fan's sea of consciousness. The qi flowing around his body was somewhat similar to Li Jihuan, who cultivated the body-seizing evil technique, but the difference in power was like heaven and earth. Body-seizing? I didn't expect you to have such a technique. Unfortunately, you will regret it. Ning Fan was slightly startled. He didn't expect Qing Hengxing to know the body-seizing evil technique. The body-seizing evil technique was also known as the undying evil technique. As long as the soul wasn't destroyed, it could enter the sea of consciousness of others, devour their consciousness, and seize their body to be reborn. It seemed like Qing Hengxing wanted to seize Ning Fan's body. Unfortunately, Qing Hengxing was destined to be disappointed. No matter how strong a cultivator was, his sea of consciousness was still fragile. Once it was invaded, the consequences would be extremely serious. However, Ning Fan didn't stop Qing Hengxing's act of seizing his body. He allowed a trace of his soul to enter his sea of consciousness. Qing Hengxing was delighted. He was delighted that Ning Fan was so arrogant that he ignored his body-seizing evil technique. He sneered in his heart. As long as I seize Ning Fan's body and use Ning Fan's body to be reborn, not only will I not die, I can even become a living person, leave the demon sinister forest and return to the Yang world. However, this trace of delight turned into great sorrow the moment it entered Ning Fan's sea of consciousness. It was as if a basin of ice water was poured on Qing Hengxing's head, making him shudder. How could this be? Impossible, this is absolutely impossible. He roared in despair. Did you see it? The corner of Ning Fan's mouth curved into a cold smile. The reason why he dared to let Qing Hengxing enter his sea of consciousness was because his sea of consciousness had already undergone a mutation. What was the sea of consciousness? It was just the sea of consciousness. The sea of consciousness of an ordinary person was located in the heavenly spirit. It was opened by the spirit sense and evolved into an ocean of spirit sense. Occasionally, there were powerful cultivators who could cultivate their sea of consciousness into a sea of fire, a glacier, and many other forms. These people were all ruthless people who could dominate a region. Below Ning Fan's sea of consciousness was a sea of blue and silver sword qi. Above Ning Fan's sea of consciousness were countless small blue and silver swords, hanging upside down in the sky. Sword consciousness. The sea of consciousness that was condensed by sword chi. In ancient times, only a few true immortals could master this kind of sea of consciousness. It was rare for them to cultivate it by chance. Ning Fan, on the other hand, relied on the spirit sense in the immortal execution sword chi to cultivate the embryonic form of the sword-shaped sea of consciousness. Although the sea of consciousness was filled with sword chi, it was still not perfect. Even so, every trace of spirit sense was like sword chi, revealing the might of immortal execution. The spirit sense in the form of sword chi was called sword sense. It was common sense that spirit sense couldn't hurt people. However, sword sense could kill people invisibly from 1,000 miles away. Ning Fan seemed to be standing with his hands clasped behind his back and didn't make a move. In fact, he had already used his ultimate killing technique on the gold core ghost. The power of the sword sense depended on increasing the amount of sword chi in it to advance. Ning Fan didn't care about this for the time being. It was enough for him to kill the gold core expert of Green Clan with just his sword sense. In Ning Fan's sea of consciousness that was filled with dense killing intent, Qing Hengxing's remnant soul showed a regretful expression for the first time. He shouldn't have provoked Ning Fan. He shouldn't have used the secret technique to enter Ning Fan's sea of consciousness. Even a void fragmentation old monster wouldn't have a good ending if they used the secret technique to possess Ning Fan, let alone himself. In the future, Ning Fan might be able to use the sword sense to trap countless old devils to death. Obviously, this had nothing to do with Qing Hengxing. Let me go. Qing Hengxing's words were trembling. But who would pity the crocodile's tears? Ning Fan's eyes flickered with cold light. In his sea of consciousness, his spirit sense swept across. Hundreds of millions of sword chi swept across and crushed Qing Hengxing's remnant soul, turning it into nourishment for the sword sense sea. Possession was the same as seeking one's own death. Sense beads, I've picked them up. Mu Weiliang's trembling hands held dozens of gold core sense beads and passed them to Ning Fan. Fear, it was terrifying. The current Ning Fan was as cold as a sword, giving Mu Weiliang an unprecedented feeling of unfamiliarity. Don't be afraid, Ning Fan could see the panic in Mu Weiliang's eyes. He smiled faintly and patted her dusty hair. At this moment, there was no sword might in his eyes. There was only the same easygoing look as before. After keeping the sense beads, Ning Fan leaped onto the immortal cloud. He carried the small sable and went straight to Green Clan. Ning Fan's smile was still the same as before, with a hint of teasing and concern. It made Mu Weiliang feel relieved and let down her guard. On the immortal cloud, Ning Fan no longer concealed his chi and the small sable. His spirit sense swept across the 300 li radius. In this way, he would certainly become the target of the entire third region. But Ning Fan didn't need to hide anymore. After integrating the sense force in the immortal execution sword chi, Ning Fan not only cultivated the sword sense sea of consciousness, but also advanced the strength of his spirit sense to late gold core realm. Along with the advancement of his spirit sense incarnation also advanced to late gold core realm. In the third region, his strength was almost at the pinnacle. In addition to the suppression of the small sable's demonic chi, even a half-step nascent soul ghost could only exert the strength of late gold core realm in front of Ning Fan. Today, he would sweep through the third region and his first target was undoubtedly Green Clan. Today, Green Clan will be annihilated. His words were arrogant, but with his sword sense and incarnation, it was enough for him to run amok in this place. The immortal execution order of the great elder of Green Clan was indeed a great kindness. It almost killed Ning Fan. This enmity must be repaid one day. Ning Fan's immortal cloud was flying very slowly. He was waiting for countless reckless ghosts to come to his death. He didn't know which ghost Mei Chen had a relationship with, but he wouldn't let go of any ghost that came to his doorstep. The road to Green Clan would be a bloody road with mountains of white bones. Just as he flew for more than 10 li, more than 10 early gold core ghosts chased after him. They were looking at Ning Fan and Mei Chen. One of them had a fiery and lecherous expression. His eyes were moving back and forth between Mu and Ning Fan. Ha! Mei Ji is really here. Kill her. Kill her and report to Bone Emperor. A living person. Hee, I know. This person must be the one who killed Bone Emperor's incarnation. Let's kill him as well. What a beautiful woman. I want the one in white. Then I want the one in red. A group of early gold core ghosts chased after them. They didn't know that Ning Fan had already locked onto them with his spirit sense when they were within 300 li of them. They were already dead. Break, Ning Fan's indifferent voice was heard. He didn't even need the help of the small sable's demonic chi. In an instant, the sea of consciousness of the 13 early gold core ghosts shattered. Their corpses fell to the ground and blood splashed on the ground. Their sense beads were kept away by Ning Fan with a wave of his sleeve. 500 li away, a peak gold core old man in red coincidentally peeped at Ning Fan with his spirit sense. His facial expression changed drastically when he saw the strange scene. He was the great elder of Red Clan, an existence that controlled countless ghosts. But this was the first time in his life that he felt a chill down his spine when he saw a harmonious spirit junior. Impossible, this person is only a late harmonious spirit cultivator. How could he kill 13 gold core ghosts in an instant? This is simply absurd. He originally wanted to fish in troubled waters, but after seeing Ning Fan's strange means, he didn't dare to make a move. Immediately, he made a decision. Not only he couldn't make a move, even the entire Red Clan was not allowed to make a move against Ning Fan. This person must not be offended. He firmly shook his head and listed Ning Fan as the person that he couldn't afford to offend in Demon Sinister Forest. It didn't matter to him whether Green Clan was destroyed or not. What did it have to do with him whether Bone Emperor was angry or not? His Red Clan wasn't on good terms with Bone Emperor and the 12 ghost clans. The only thing that concerned him was Mu Weiliang and Ning Honghong on Ning Fan's immortal cloud. These two girls looked familiar to the old man, but he shook his head and decided to ignore them. He left in a hurry to avoid getting involved in this matter. The dignified great elder of Red Clan looked a little panicked when he left. Qing Lingshan had already received the report that Ning Fan had a strange technique that could instantly kill early, mid and even late gold core experts within 300 li radius. It would be extremely dangerous to face Ning Fan alone. Qing Lingshan didn't want to believe such a ridiculous statement, but he had no choice but to believe it because of the facts. The only thing that didn't change was Qing Lingshan's usual coldness, arrogance. He stood with his hands clasped behind his back. His eyes emitted a hint of green light, looking at Ning Fan threateningly. Zhou Ming. I didn't come looking for you, but you came looking for me. Hee, what a reckless kid. This old man doesn't care what kind of sinister magic you used to kill so many of my fellow ghosts. But under this old man's 9 great formation, you have no chance of survival. 9 levels of green, activate. Qing Lingshan and the other 8 late-stage elders each held a green wooden token, which was the key to controlling the grand formation. The divine senses of the 9 people sank into the great formation. An extremely dangerous aura, accompanied by waves of sinister dragon roars, swept out from the great formation and transformed into 9 green bone dragons that were 1,000 feet tall. Each of the 9 dragons had the chi of a gold core. The one controlled by Qing Lingshan even had the chi of a half-step nascent soul realm expert. Moreover, it was formed by the formation force and sense power. It had the shape of a dragon, making it hard to kill. The 9 levels of green, 8 cores and 1 nascent soul realm formation was definitely the pinnacle of Qing Lingshan's Tao of formation. Once the formation was activated and the 9 dragons were summoned, Qing Lingshan's expression became even colder. Zhou Ming, this old man will give you a chance. If you cripple your own cultivation and hand over the evil magic that killed hundreds of ghosts, I will spare your life. Qing Lingshan wasn't only determined to defeat Ning Fan, but he also wanted to use the magic that killed the ghosts. The only thing that Qing Lingshan was afraid of was the small sable in Ning Fan's arms, Mei Chen. However, it was only fear. They had the advantage in numbers, and they even had the 9 great array formation. They could just wait for their prey to come to them, and they could bully them with their numbers. Why would they fear Charming Dawn? However, his threat was only met with a hint of mockery from Ning Fan. Late Gold Core ghosts were powerful existences even in Yu country, but they were nothing in Ning Fan's eyes. As for the 9 great formations, they used spirit sense as the driving force, so Ning Fan wasn't afraid of them. He patted the small sable's back. The small sable understood his intention and released its demonic qi like a black wind. Under the influence of this demonic qi, the cultivation of Qing Lingshan and the other late Gold Core experts began to drop rapidly. Apart from Qing Lingshan, who had a slightly higher cultivation and could still maintain his intermediate Gold Core cultivation, the other elders' cultivation had dropped to early Gold Core. At this moment, Ning Fan shouted. His spirit sense swept across like a sword, causing the 9 experts to break out in cold sweat at the same time. Break! After this word, the invisible sword sense pierced into the sea of consciousness of the 9 experts. The 9 elders of Green Clan suffered different degrees of injuries, but they weren't serious and they weren't dead yet. At the same time, there was a green jade pendant in each of the 9 people's bosoms. It shattered and turned into a strand of ghostly aura that carried a rotten and ruined smell. Oh. They didn't die. Ning Fan was slightly surprised. Apart from Qing Lingshan, the cultivation of the other 8 should have dropped to early Gold Core. It was really unexpected that they didn't die under his sword sense. His eyes fell on the rotten ghost qi and he immediately understood why he didn't kill the 8 of them. Death substitution order. His expression changed slightly. None of the 9 experts including Qingling Mountain had expected Ning Fan to act so quickly. Moreover, he managed to break the death substitution order that the 9 of them had prepared beforehand with just a single move. The death substitution order was obtained by the Great Elder of Green Clan, just like the Immortal Execution Order. The effect of the Immortal Execution Order was to kill, while the effect of the Death Substitution Order was to protect one's life. By sealing a trace of his soul power in the token, it was enough to withstand a strike from a nascent soul expert. Qing Lingshan still had 2 Immortal Execution Orders left. As for the Death Substitution Order, Qing Lingshan originally had 12 Death Substitution Orders, but 9 of them were destroyed by Ning Fan, leaving only 3. However, he couldn't care less about his heart at this moment. There was only one thought in his mind: escape. Quickly enter the formation and kill this man with the formation. Qing Lingshan and the other 8 experts retreated into the misty formation in panic, but their faces were still filled with lingering fear. Before Ning Fan attacked, Qing Lingshan still looked down on Ning Fan, but at this moment, he was extremely afraid of Ning Fan. This kid's means are too heaven-defying. Without the death substitution order, I would have been severely injured and the 8 of you would have died for sure. Not only Qing Lingshan was panic-stricken, but the other elders were also looking at Ning Fan with fear through the misty formation. As for Chu Han, she had already met Ning Fan twice before. The shock in her heart was far greater than the others. Her beautiful eyes were filled with complicated emotions. The first time she met Ning Fan, she only thought that he was a second revolution pill master, so she treated him politely, but that was all. She didn't put Ning Fan in her eyes at all. The second time, she wanted to rob the vault during the chaos, but Ning Fan cut open the defensive grand formation and robbed the vault first. She began to fear Ning Fan. She knew that he was hiding his true strength, but she still didn't think that his true strength was stronger than hers. But this time, after a few days, Ning Fan gave her the feeling that he was her natural enemy. She only felt fear. Chu Han's pretty face turned pale. This time, she survived Ning Fan's strange magical technique with the help of the death substitution order. Next time, without the death substitution order, would she be able to survive Ning Fan's magical technique? What should she do? We must not leave the grand formation. As long as we hide in the formation, this kid's magical technique won't be able to reach us. Then, we can use the power of the grand formation to kill him. The same thought emerged in the hearts of the 9 experts at the same time. Each of them waved their wooden tokens to control the green dragons formed by the formation power. If they could go back in time, they would never want to offend Ning Fan again, but they couldn't regret their lives. They could only seek life in death. The 9 dragons could summon the wind and rain, spit fire and thunder, and all of them were attacking Ning Fan alone. As long as I don't leave the grand formation, he won't be able to do anything to me. After all, this is the combination of 8 core grand formations and 1 nascent grand formation. It's the best formation I've ever created in my life. Qing Lingshan's eyes carried a trace of conceit. With this grand formation, he wouldn't be weaker than anyone in his life. When his eyes fell on the 9 layers green formation light, he would feel a sense of security. But at the next moment, this sense of security was taken away by Ning Fan. A trace of silver light broke through the layers of mist, like a lightning that pierced through the dark clouds. It was invincible. Destroy. Ning Fan snorted coldly. His palm moved, and a bright silver starlight sword shadow broke through the mist, piercing through the torsos of the 9 green skeletal dragons. The 9 skeletal dragons were formed by the power of the formation. They were the power of spirit sense. They were intangible and couldn't be harmed by the sword chi. Even the sword chi that was as thick as a mountain couldn't do any harm to the dragon shadows. Gold core sword chi, you have really impressed me. But my formation dragons will never be able to destroy it. Qing Lingshan smiled ferociously, but at the next moment, his smile froze. To his surprise, he found that with just a slash of the sword light, the 9 dragons began to burn. They let out a mournful dragon roar and began to perish. How is this possible? What kind of divine ability can slash the formless dragon shadows? Qing Lingshan's palm was already cold and wet. His back was shivering unconsciously. The immortal dragon shadow was easily broken by Ning Fan's sword strike. To Qing Lingshan, this was definitely more shocking than the fact that Ning Fan's could kill an early gold core expert in an instant. Could it be that this kid's sword has the soul-burning divine ability? Not good. If this kid really has such a void divine ability, I'm afraid my grand formation won't be able to withstand it. He was at a loss. The 9 layers green grand formation that he laid was a pure spirit force formation. It was most afraid of the soul-burning divine ability. He raised his head and saw Ning Fan's separation slayer. There was a trace of blood on the sword and it was filled with baleful qi. White bone qi began to spread in the sky under his feet. It was cold and bewitching. A streak of blood-red sword qi let out a wail that sounded like a ghost's wail as it pierced through the 9 layers of formation light. Before the formation light could recover, the spirit force of the 9 layers of formation started to burn violently under the soul-burning divine ability. In an instant, there was nothing left. It's broken, my 9 layers green grand formation, my green clan. Qing Lingshan's eyes revealed a desperate look. Ning Fan was familiar with this kind of look. It was the look of a wild beast that had nowhere to run and a desperado. Kill! Qing Lingshan charged towards them. Nearly 1,000 gold core experts of the Green Clan soared into the sky. Even though Ning Fan had the sword sense technique, he couldn't kill 1,000 gold core experts at the same time. His face revealed a ruthless expression. He swallowed 100 sense beads in one gulp. Without any refining or absorption, he channeled the vast spirit force into his sea of consciousness. In just an instant, the strength of his spirit sense increased rapidly. Peak gold core, false nascent. Blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. His sea of consciousness was obviously severely injured. But with the help of the spirit force from the 100 sense beads, his spirit sense had reached a terrifying realm. Break. An extremely powerful spirit sense swept out from Ning Fan. Under the sweeping of the spirit sense, the bodies of the gold core experts of the Green Clan began to explode into blood mist. In just one move, nearly 100 ghosts were crushed to death. As for the remaining ones, they were severely injured and fled in all directions. The 8 late gold core elders, including Chu Han, had their sea of consciousness severely injured. They kept spurting out blood, but they couldn't care less about their injuries. They fled 1,000 miles away with all their might. As for the great elder, Qing Lingshan, he was at the center of Ning Fan's spirit sense attack. Thousands of spirit sense swords slashed his body into a bloody pulp and burned his ghost into nothingness. Thousands of gold core experts of the Green Clan were brutally killed by this young man in front of them. The Green Clan was annihilated. From today onwards, the Green Clan will no longer exist in the demon sinister forest. Ning Fan's cold voice reverberated in the sky of 300 miles. Countless experts who were watching the battle were terrified. His face looked weak, but his eyes were as sharp as before. At this moment, it might be a good chance to launch a sneak attack and kill Ning Fan. However, Ning Fan waved his hand and the hundreds of gold core sense beads on the ground were kept into his storage pouch. This action made the experts who were watching from a few hundred li away shiver in fear. With so many sense beads, if Ning Fan went crazy again, it was hard to guarantee that he wouldn't annihilate another clan. This kid is ruthless and ruthless. His madness is unpredictable. We must not provoke him. The experts who usually had their eyes on the top of their heads retreated far away to avoid getting involved in any trouble. Their original plan of killing Ning Fan and pleasing Bone's Sovereign was gone. It was better to let Bone's Sovereign deal with Ning Fan himself. It was too dangerous for them to deal with him. In Sinister Sparrow's sect, the Merit Monument had a problem for the first time. Ning Fan's contribution points had exceeded 2 million for the second time, reaching a terrifying value of 15 million, ranking him 5th in the sect. Impossible. The Merit Monument has a problem again. Bai Feidong slammed the table and stood up. His face was full of shock. He looked at Sinister Sparrow, hoping that Sinister Sparrow would clear Ning Fan's contribution points for the second time. He didn't believe that Ning Fan could get such a huge amount of contribution points by killing gold core ghosts again and again. You're tuning into the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.